AwardsWatch.com. This is the AwardsWatch Podcast. It's episode, 178. I am your host, the executive editor of AwardsWatch, Ryan McQuade. Joining me today, Nicole Ackman.
Hi, I'm so excited to talk about this year.
Josh Parham.
Hello, hello.
Dan Bayer.
Howdy, y'all.
And Zach Law.
Hello.
Laws. Sorry, I dropped the S. I'm sorry, Zach.
That's okay. You got there eventually.
That's true. I was going to do a bunch of intros for all of us here since there was 5 of us, but I don't know. I'm not Billy Crystal. I don't have like a song for every single one of you guys. And so that's kind of a bummer. And the reason why I bring up Billy Crystal is because we're here to do another retrospective Oscar look back episode. We're going to be talking about the 2003 Oscars, otherwise known as the other sweeper. This is the only one we ever talk about. We only talk about sweepers. We talked about Titanic and then Everything Everywhere last season, and now we're only talking in Return of the King. So Ben-Hur, you're coming up next, right? So we're going to have a lot of trivia. We're going to talk about a lot of movies. We're going to talk about the Oscar season. We're going to play Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff. This is, if you haven't listened to one of these before, we did it a couple episodes back. You should really go listen to that one. That was that Titanic episode. Had a really fun time. We're not going to fully review Lord of the Rings because we respect you listeners. We're not going to do a 9-hour podcast review for a 7-hour movie. But we will talk about that probably, most likely, a lot, because it was a movie that won 11 Academy Awards, which is insane to even think about that. I mean, 7 was a lot this year. Think about 11. Think if we were covering 11, right? First off, I just kind of wanted to gauge the room here. This is kind of like the first jump-in question. And Nicole, we'll start with you. 2003. Where were you at that time in your life? And did you watch the telecast?
I did not.
Okay.
At least to my knowledge, I did not, because I was in 3rd grade.
Hey.
Actually, no, wait. Yeah, 3rd grade. That's right.
Okay.
So understandably, I have no memory of this Oscars year.
I mean, you could, you know, it's just probably repressed. It's back there. You got to go and Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind. Get in there, you know? No.
Yeah, I don't think I have any memories. Okay. Of watching the Oscars this year. I mean, I've got memories of the movies from this year, but if I watch the Oscars, I'm not aware of it. So it was really interesting to sort of like look through and read stuff, and I watched some of Billy Crystal's bits on YouTube, and
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting to sort of look back on it, because it's really my like sort of first experience of looking at that year's Oscars in depth. So I'm excited to see what y'all have to say. Some of you I know were a little bit older than I was, and probably actually aware that the Oscars like were a thing at the time.
Dan, where were you in 2003? Did you watch the Oscars?
In 2003, I was in college. I was
all right.
Well, when the Oscars happened, I was a freshman.
Humble brag.
In college, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess.
I
don't know. Actually, the Oscars ceremony happened in 2004, so I would have been a sophomore.
There you go.
But for most of these movies, I was a freshman or a sophomore in college. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Which meant that like I didn't see a lot of the awards season movies at the time. I only came to them later because I was kind of busy.
Yeah, having a college experience, college life.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Josh Parham, where were you in 2003?
This is actually the very first Oscar ceremony that I ever watched.
I knew this.
Really?
And yeah, so this year is actually very important to me because it really is the first time that I kind of discovered what the Oscars were. So it was a bit of a weird journey to get there. Actually, it was not Lord of the Rings that got me paying attention. It was actually Big Fish, because this was the height of my Tim Burton fascination, and I was highly anticipating that film, and along the way it was like, oh, there's this thing called like the Oscars that you get an award for. What is this thing? I need to investigate. So yeah, this was like the very first ceremony that I ever paid attention to. So yeah, the 2003, I watched it for the very first time, and this means a lot to me. So I'm very, very excited to dig into this.
Yeah, I feel like for our generation, this one, or maybe the one or two before, because if you did watch Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
like 2001 was big for me because Lord of the Rings, and then obviously I know that it's now like a very problematic thing to talk about, but Harry Potter, that first movie came out then too. I do remember seeing A Beautiful Mind in theaters that year. Bunch of those films as well. Yes. Yeah. Nicole's giving me the like, wow, you saw A Beautiful Mind in theaters? Yeah. Yeah. My parents should not have shown me some of these movies. Okay. It's
No,
I'm
that was not me trying to call you old or anything. That was a judgment on like your parents taking
it really
you to
is like I mean, it's also like too, like I probably didn't shut up until they let me see it. But because nice shiny things. Oh, it's Oscars. What do all these things mean, parents? Anyway, so like these first couple of years in the Oscars, 03 especially, like that was the gateway drug, like for Josh. Zach, was that the same way for you in 03?
Not exactly. I had already watched a couple of Oscar ceremonies before this one. Like the first one I remember watching was the Beautiful Mind year.
Okay.
I sort of had an awareness of what the Oscars were at that point, but I wasn't following them. This was sort of the first year that I actually kind of followed it from beginning to end, and had started an annual tradition of skipping school the day that the Oscar nominations were announced. Um, it was my day off, right? And
kids should not do that. We're not saying that you should do that.
But if
Zach's
you're going
not
to do it,
putting that out there. I mean,
you're
if you
gonna
do,
it
tweet
for
at Zach Laws.
Yeah, right.
And,
yeah,
this
parents,
year.
come at me. No, it was. I had started at that point like reading Entertainment Weekly, and I would like religiously look at Dave Karger's predictions. And
Yup. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was really into like, who the front runners were, and I was like going to see these movies in theaters on my own. Like I was 13 going to see Mystic River as, without an adult companion, right? Just letting me in on my own.
Feel good Sunday afternoon movie just to watch Mystic River.
Yeah.
Cheer yourself up, get an ice cream after.
Exactly. But yeah, this was a big kind of year for me because I really was starting to understand like what the Oscars were and what the horse race aspect of it was. And like it wasn't like I got into it because of the Lord of the Rings. I actually wasn't a Lord of the Rings fan until sort of later in my life, funny enough. Like I saw the films, but I was kind of like, not for me type thing. But now they are kind of my thing, I guess.
This was the first Oscar year I remember that I got to see all the Best Picture nominees. So that was the big thing. And yes, that means Lost in Translation. I saw that in theaters and I shouldn't have. Because like
take that back right now.
I was like, what was it, 03? I was 11. Like,
I mean, I didn't see it in theaters, but I did see it before the ceremony. I did do that.
I think it was like, I think it's like it's a pretty innocent movie, right? There's not like a lot in there, right?
They do go to a strip club at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, they do, but like, I mean,
you can cover the kid's eyes for that for like 2 seconds and then you're good, right? Like, I mean, I
would object to you seeing it for another reason based on quality, but we'll get into that.
Okay. Okay. But I couldn't, my parents would not let me see Gangs in New York the year before, which is funny because then I saw it like the next year, which was weird. Anyway, when it got like on video, and obviously the big point of emphasis is like around this time, DVD video, whereof everyone hears of the blockbuster generation, which is great, which I love, because now when you talk to most people online about that, they don't know what that means. Like the existential dread of you're at school and you're thinking about how you've been a good kid all week, and your parents are like, if you're still good, Friday is right around the corner. Blockbuster's right around the corner too. You go there. One of these movies, because it's Oscar season, right? You want to watch one of them. You've been thinking about, I'm going to watch this movie. I'm going to watch this movie. I'm going to watch this movie. You get to the blockbuster. What happens?
They're all out.
They're all out. And it sucks. I just think that this generation deserves a little bit more disappointment in their life because that prepared me for being an adult. Because then you'd sit there and you just pray. You'd like walk around the store like 700 times.
Yes.
You knew you weren't going to want anything else. Your mind was focused in on getting that one thing, and you're praying to God. Some high off his ass schmuck just brought returned it in. If it was VHS, you had to wait for them to rewind it. If it's a DVD, they, just totally like just put like the little, what is that? Like the yellow, like case slip thing, so that then you don't steal the disc or whatever.
Oh yeah,
the protector lock on it. Yeah, what I'm just saying is that this generation's got it made in the shade. All right, but I think that this year was so interesting because a lot of these movies, they really span throughout the most of the year. A lot of crowd pleasers, some blockbusters in here, indie dramas, sort of traditional dramas, auteur directors, up and coming directors, a lot of history made, which was interesting because it's like, and this is also one of the highest rated Oscars. This is one of the last highest rated telecasts that we had in sort of the new millennium. Like it's Titanic and this are on like on a pretty high pedestal. And it's funny because like that's when the movie of the year ends up winning Best Picture and wins a boatload of awards. And so I find that really fascinating. I find that, we're celebrating these anniversaries this year and they have a lot in common, which is great. So I'm going to open it up the floor now. 2003 as a year as a whole. What do you guys think of this year? Doing the research and looking into it. What'd you think?
Not a bad year at all.
No.
Yeah, I like the movies from this year. And I do think because of the Oscars, it is really easy to just narrow that focus because it really is just Lord of the Rings that swept everything and that does hog a lot of the attention. But there's some really good films in here too that, some of them were nominated for Oscars and some of them not so much. But there's still a really good range in here. And I think just because Lord of the Rings takes up most of the oxygen, that doesn't mean that there wasn't some other good stuff that showed up along the way too.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I can't be fully mad about a movie in which we got 2 Matrix films. So, I just can't. It's just ingrained within
Yeah.
They're both
me.
good. And they're both
good. Thank
Good
you,
movies.
Ryan. Both good movies.
One would
I've got a
argue
couple
Not made
with
a
that,
bad
but-
movie yet.
one would argue one of them's great, the other one's good.
Yes.
And it's reloaded.
I would argue one of them is
exactly what
good
I would
and the other
argue.
one is okay.
No, Josh, we will not
Wachowskis
stand for
have
this
not
today.
made a not good film yet.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Right.
Jupiter Ascending is sitting right there. But
Jupiter Ascending is a fucking masterpiece.
No,
I
There
would
you
get
go.
nothing
You
else.
did it now.
No. Damn it. Oh, no. Good
No,
God.
truly though, looking at this year, because I've been looking at the Oscars and I was like, oh, all right, yeah, it's a pretty good year. And then I looked at like things, I went into my letterbox and I filtered it all down and I was like, oh, wait, this is a really fun year of movies. Like, I mean, it's the year that we get the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Heck yeah.
Mhm.
It's the year that we get Love Actually,
Yep.
one of the greatest holiday films ever made. It's the year that we get Something's Gotta Give and
Yes.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And it's a really good year for sort of like, I mean, I don't like this sort of distinction, but like populist film in terms of, your franchise movies, your rom-coms, your animated films, all that. It's
And
like
your
a-
horror films, where my
Yeah.
identity fans at?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Like,
Identity.
it's a
I
really
remember seeing
fun
that movie.
year.
Yeah, it's got a lot of everything for everyone.
Yeah.
And a
You know
lot
what I
of things that have had sort of staying power, I feel like.
Yeah. It's like one of those years that, like Zach was talking about, I just remember, and I think everyone talked about this. All the movies that I was looking back on this list, I was like, I remember either seeing that or I rented that, and I remember the viewing experience of that movie and just like from that moment on, it was like, oh, okay. It felt like every week at least good movie was coming out, and we could at least appreciate something. And then most of those movies, you're like, most of those movies either did pretty well, or they ended up at the Oscars, or in the conversation. And it's also like a year where, like, yeah, you get like this giant epic ending, but then you also get like a great Pixar movie, and you get a bunch of great action films, and you get a bunch of, you know, nice indies, and like,
And to
Dan
be
before,
fair, you also get The Room.
yeah,
Which
you
is
get the greatest bad movie of all time, you know, which is saying something about this year. I mean, it's a shame it wasn't nominated at the Oscars, but that's beside the point. You know?
I mean, you can't have everything.
But I feel like the year is a pretty good year. And I mean, let's kind of get the big elephant out of the room. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. What does everybody think of this winner on the whole? Do you think it's a good winner? Do you think the movie holds up? Think it's a bad
No,
movie?
no,
Zach, are you ready to say it's a bad movie, Zach?
no, not yet. Don't come
Okay.
at me.
Okay.
No, it's kind of it's not my favorite of the three Lord of the Rings movies. I would say that. But I
Which
think
is?
that in terms of like bad winners, it's kind of hard to argue with it if you think of it as like an award for the entire achievement of the trilogy, you know, as opposed to just like rewarding an individual film. Um, would I have given it like 11 Academy Awards? Probably not, but I think that it's, you know, it's worthy of acknowledging what Peter Jackson was able to do in mounting this kind of like epic fantasy trilogy with like, you know, a cast of thousands, and, you know, having taken over the entire continent of New Zealand for several years, and, you know, and actually having like pulled it off. You know, we've got the second Dune coming out this year, and I, for the life of me, don't understand why they wouldn't have taken the Lord of the Rings approach with that one, because, you know, aren't you afraid that some of your actors are going to die in between shooting your back-to-back movies? It just seems a lot more. It seems a lot more practical to just shoot three movies at once. And
Well,
you
it's
know,
practical. It's practical, but it's also a giant risk.
yeah,
It was an enormous risk for New Line because of the fact that there's no guarantee that that first movie was going to be the box office sensation that it was. So what if we lived in a world where, and they had to do a lot of reshoots, and they had to, I mean, this is one of those unadaptable novels like Dune, you know, like this big giant project, and they tried doing it many times before, and it never worked out, or it never prospered beyond like maybe a first part or something. And so what if we did live in a world where Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, didn't do well? Like, that would have been really tough to then say, well, we've got these two other movies,
yeah.
and they're also like $100 million, and hope you like them because you didn't like this one. And so I think that, like, it is one of the biggest risks in Hollywood history, and it enormously paid off. And also, too, Peter Jackson, it was not like this. I mean, he was a director that was known, but he wasn't like, I think, even to today's standards, someone that you would sit behind and be like, hey, this unadaptable thing, we're going to hand it over to him. It was a giant risk for even him to direct something like this. And
There's a story that Robert Shea tells. I think it was Robert Shea, who was the head of New Line. He said that when they were editing the first Lord of the Rings movie, he walked into the office that Peter Jackson had, and there were posters for his previous movies, like you know, Meet the Feebles, I think. What was that movie called?
Oh yeah,
like Bad Taste.
The Frighteners.
And he said, I can't believe we just gave this guy $1 million.
Well, and remember that, like, the culture was not as sci-fi fantasy friendly back in the late 90s, early 2000s as it is now.
Yeah. I mean, like, we had a bunch of Star Trek movies come out, but like, they were never like,
no, not
worldwide.
big hits.
They weren't like, not giant hits. And even Star Wars is like not really even like sci-fi nearly as much as people want to give it and put that in
And
that
this
box.
was the
It's
year
Star
of the
Wars. It's its own thing.
first Hulk movie. So like
Yeah.
that's where Marvel was.
Yeah, exactly. And so like
Wish they'd go back, honestly.
Sometimes.
At least it was something.
yeah, at least
This
it's
was
something to talk
different.
about, right, Josh?
Mhm.
But like no, but I think like Lord of the Rings, it's you know, those movies then became, after the first one, it became a phenomenon. Like it was like, see, another thing that you all relate to see a movie trailer, you had to go to the movies. It wasn't online. And so you would cling to your seat, hoping that, you know, probably as a kid or someone younger, that like maybe this is the one when they're going to show Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, or Return of the King. And I remember when, I think it was the Dumb and Dumber sequel, or was it prequel or whatever?
Oh yeah, the prequel.
They started off, it was actually a brilliant piece of marketing. The movie's terrible, but it was a brilliant piece of marketing. Of the beginning of that trailer is very similar to Lord of the Rings. So the whole audience just lost their minds for like the first 5 or 10 seconds.
I think I have a memory of this, yeah.
And then it switches and people went violently angry in my theater when that happened. It was like you had just like assassinated someone. It was so like, how dare you even think about doing this? And then those two trailers came out and people were like, I felt like at times people were more interested in those trailers than the damn movies that I was watching in the theaters, because they were, the only way you could see them was on the big screen, the way you were supposed to see those. And
well, if you were seeing the Dumb and Dumber prequel, I would assume most people would probably be interested in the trailer ahead of it.
Well, no, I wasn't saying I saw the film. You were seeing like a different film and then that trailer pops in there. You know what I mean, Josh? Yeah. So it was, you know, but I remember seeing all the Lord of the Rings 3 times in the theater. I could not get enough of them. I was there opening night. Again, no reserved seats. You had to stand in line when you bought your advance tickets then. It's really just like dating ourselves here at this point, just to keep saying all this. But like it made you feel like you were anticipating something more than just like, I'm gonna go on my phone, buy tickets, bing bang boom. Mm-hmm. You know,
it was also the era where there were actual midnight screenings and not 7 p.m. on a Thursday.
5 p.m. Shoot, people there's like 3 o'clock movies now on a Thursday.
Yeah, it was back in the day when you actually had to commit to midnight screenings to see something.
Yeah, really, just what are we doing as a society now? That's like, you know, we're gonna start screening these movies at 8 a.m. or whatever.
How dare
we? Kids these days, you don't have any idea. Okay, you don't know what it was like.
Midnight screenings ruled.
Midnight screenings are awesome.
They were great.
The theater employees had to be there till 4 or 5 in the morning. Just
heck yeah!
After us,
you were like, okay, I know this movie's got to end, but I don't want it to. But it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Come on, Peter Jackson. Like, you know, like it's a lot of movie to handle. But I remember. I don't know if y'all remember how you saw Lord of the Rings, Return to King, but I saw it with my cousins. I usually saw it with my parents, but I saw it with my cousins because. And then this is going to get a little personal, a little down for a second, but my aunt was dying of cancer at the time, and I had advance tickets, and I begged my dad to give him up those tickets, and it wasn't really like a hard sell for him because he was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Of like, take my cousins out of the hospital, get him to go and do something else, because like the news was very grim, and she passed away like a couple weeks later. But it was like going to the theater and seeing that film and all the emotions, and like something that, you know, especially at the end too, where it's like, you know, the mission's complete, Frodo goes to the other side as well, and it's a very emotional movie. We were all very emotional, and then I remember that movie let out at like 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and because it was a very late show, and I remember going to like whatever was open, I think it was an IHOP or a Denny's or something, with my whole family. You know, I just kind of sat there, and we told them what the movie was all, you know, what happened, and then we all just kind of sat there together, and it was one of like those last happy moments before my aunt passed. And so this movie's always meant something to me, even on that level. And then and then like a week later, I took my dad and my stepmom, and then I took my mom a week after that, because I was just like, I got to see this as many times as possible, because, you know, they didn't really release movies again over and over again in theaters, like that just come out. So it was like, see this as many times as you can. And it was actually like, cheaper than today to do that. So, but I just remember devouring that movie, along with a bunch of other movies like this too this year. But that movie is a very special experience. But I don't know how do you guys remember standing in line? Did you have like people dressed up as Gandalf and hobbits in your line? Was it a big thing, or did you guys watch it, at home, or did you never see it in 2003? And did it take you a long time to see it?
So I had a friend at the time from high school who we were both, big fans of the movies, and she found it opened in December, if I remember correctly. So we were both home from college, and she found a theater that was doing a marathon leading up to the release of Return of the King, and we literally like sat in this theater all freaking day watching all 3 Lord of the Rings movies back to back, and it was freaking great.
I remember doing that in college when the Hobbit movies were coming out.
Not as good an experience
not
watching
very
those
good,
3
no.
back to back. Sorry.
If you want to talk about great experiences or Lord of the Rings, and you want to talk about just absolute dog shit experience, the Hobbit, all 3 of them. I remember like the 3rd one, I just felt like walking into the theater and it felt like my soul had been sucked out of my body. And it was like, yeah, I just need to kind of watch this movie because then it's over. And then I don't have to do this again. I don't have to punish myself anymore. And then I watched the movie and I was like, okay, it's done. It's over. Never have to go back here again, for the Hobbit franchise, at least. So that's something, at least, right? No? Anyway, just monologuing about the Hobbit because it's awful. But Nicole, I think you recently just saw all these movies like during the pandemic, right?
Yeah. So once again, as a reminder, I was a 3rd grader in 2003.
Excuses.
And also it's the year that my sister was born, so my parents were not exactly taking me to see movies.
Way to blame your sister. She's not here.
Well, we had an infant in the house.
That's fair,
movies
but
were
also
not a thing that we were going to. But so I actually had never seen any of the Lord of the Rings movies until last year, as some people will probably already know because I talked about them quite a bit whenever I did finally see them. But luckily, a theater nearby me was actually, for some reason, screening all 3 of them on different weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to go and see them in the theater, extended editions, very
you
properly.
Saw the regulars first and then the extended? Or
no, they were screening the extended editions.
Oh, okay.
So I went like straight in. I still have never seen the regular versions. I've only ever seen extended. But I was absolutely blown away. It truly was one of those things where I was like, oh, like it sounds funny to be like, oh, these really do live up to the hype, but it is one of those things where there are so many older films that don't, but I can genuinely say that like seeing this for the first time in the 2020s, it holds up incredibly well, and it's still very moving. And I have watched this one again like at home on my TV, partially because Ryan was kind enough to send me his extra set of Blu-rays.
But I have 4 copies of this thing at my house.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
But I do think it also is one of those films where, like, with any film that sort of is one of those like big sci-fi epics, I always wonder, will it hold up outside of a theater experience? And I think that this is one that holds up extremely well because so much, obviously, like all of the work on it is beautiful, but I do think that it's emotionally driven enough that it holds up, even if you wanted to watch it like on your iPhone or whatever, on an airplane, I think it would still be like a good film experience.
Josh, are you team extended or team regular? Because this is the debate. This is the ongoing debate of these movies.
It depends on which film it is. Okay. And also, like, I don't know, like, especially with Return of the King, I would almost say extended just to get Christopher Lee back in there because I love Christopher Lee, and
that's
I think
pivotal too.
Not being in there, is a big problem. But that's like the only thing I think is actually like a benefit of the extended edition of that one. I think it still works fine overall with the theatrical version, and I don't have a strong opinion on either one, but for this one in particular, like I said, Christopher Lee feels essential, but everything else I'm sort of good with.
Yeah. Zach, you extended regular?
I generally only like extended editions of movies that are directed by either James Cameron or Ridley Scott.
That's
so,
yep.
But no, I do, because this was like sort of a pioneer in terms of like, DVD sales for movies that you love, get the special editions. And I do think what I would say is that the footage that they restore in those is always really interesting to watch because it is part of this overarching story. I think that the extended editions of movies I generally don't like are the like raunchy comedies that get even raunchier, i.e. there's just like an extra half hour of unnecessary footage that was slapped in there to sell a DVD. I do think that it's like, if I were to like, because I showed these to my roommate for the first time during the pandemic, I think, because she had never seen them. And I said, let's ease you in with the regular versions because they're long movies to begin with. Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is I can go either or.
Yeah, these were long movies, and we didn't have a forum for anyone to bitch and moan about the length of them. They just sat their ass in the theaters and frickin' watched them, and we were all better for it, I think. But then,
youngsters.
Yeah, I'm just saying, youngsters, simpler times, right? Yeah. But then, okay, 2003, we talked about like the year overall, but we're like, okay, there's some other favorite movies, obviously outside of Lord of the Rings that you all have. So let's just talk about them in general. Just kind of throw them out there. Who wants to go first? A favorite movie, a movie experience maybe from that year that you remember that means a lot to you. Who wants to go first?
Look, we simply cannot talk about 2003 without talking about that cinematic masterpiece from Justin to Kelly, the most important movie to have come out in this 12 months.
I do remember when it came out. I do have very strong memories of those trailers.
Hyped. I will say that. It was insanely hyped.
When I tell you that, like, that was an outing in college. That was a rowdy screening, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Because the movie is so epically freaking bad.
It is one of the worst.
Like, oh my gosh.
I don't remember if I ever saw the movie, but I remember the Ebert and Roper review of that movie.
Oh, so good.
They were like, why are we reviewing this movie?
Literally. It's like this isn't a movie.
Yeah.
Anybody else have, I guess, a memorable experience like from Justin to Kelly or another movie they want to talk about?
Well, I was, we were talking about all these movies that were appreciated in their time when it came out, and I wanted to talk about one movie that was pretty roundly dismissed when it came out, and that was In the Cut, Jane Campion's film, which, now that she's come back, feels like people have discovered how awesome that film is, because it almost ruined her entire career. It was just so toxically received. But that's a really great and interesting film that I think a lot of people are finally discovering.
Yeah, it's really also interesting when we do some of these, when movies sort of turn around or their legacies, and how even like over the last couple of years, a movie like that, you're absolutely right, Zach. It's like because she came back with Power of the Dog, because people are going through her filmography. And I think also what helps is too is like other podcasts like Blank Check and others who dive deep into these filmographies to be able to sort of have different conversations. And also great websites like AwardsWatch.com talking about all these these retrospective years,
Well, the criterionification of film culture, because I remember when they first came about with the Criterion Channel, they had like the Jane Campion collection, and that was I think the way that a lot of people saw that movie for the first time was it being featured on there, you know,
for
and
sure.
outside of like how the critical perception for it was. I mean, it was truly toxic, you know, people were like, no, thank you.
They're like, pass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nicole, do you
I
have one?
don't. I have one. I did not see this in 2003, but I distinctly remember seeing it whenever I was a freshman in high school because my English teacher played it for us, and I genuinely do not remember what her attempt at a tie-in for this was, but I was deep in my Moulin Rouge phase at the time, and my English teacher showed us Big Fish, and I was like, wow, confirmation that Ewan McGregor is the best man on the planet. And I was blown away by it. Like, I mean, you can definitely see how like someone like me would be like, wow, Big Fish. And I'm someone who's very hit and miss with Tim Burton, but Big Fish is one of my favorites of his work. And then the other one that is like, I feel like everyone's gonna laugh at me for saying this, but again, whenever I was in high school, a history teacher put this movie on for us, and I was like, wow, that's cinema. I love Master and Commander. Master and Commander
rules. That movie
Awesome movie.
I literally had it on earlier today, like rewatching it while I was working on something else, and I was like, damn, this movie does still slap. And again, what the people have like reevaluated recently, I've seen several things talking about like a homoerotic reading of Master and Commander, and like you know, I'm like, yeah, let's talk about that.
Please.
I love Russell Crowe in this time period specifically. Like he was a period drama king for a while, okay? And I appreciate him for that. And Master and Commander is just one of those films that hits every time. Like I envy people who saw Master and Commander in a theater.
That was me. I saw.
I truly am jealous of you guys for it.
I never understand. I mean, the movie was fine financially. I think it wasn't like the biggest hit. I think it broke even. Maybe
it broke even. Like I think just, but it was like really expensive movie to make.
Yeah, but now
okay.
I think,
from what I just found, it had a budget of 150 million, and it made overall finally about 212 million.
Okay, that's not breaking even. Yeah, that's.
It technically made its budget back, but not marketing.
I mean, maybe on the home video.
Yeah, home video. I mean, that's the thing is that home video mattered back then.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter that much anymore, unfortunately.
But damn, that movie, I just remember thinking at the end of it, when he's like, yeah, we're going to go after him, and da-da-da-da, I'm like, yeah, when are we going after him? Because I would like the sequel to that movie right fucking now. Like, that movie was so good at the time. And I remember seeing that with the packed audience. My mom took me to it. And Russell Crowe, Paul Bettany's so good in that movie. My God.
They both are. It's so weird.
too is that like the novels that it's based on are from a series that like chronicles the entire life of this captain. So I'm like, okay, come on, go find the ones where he's older. We can do a sequel right now.
Yeah, like, Russell Crowe. We don't got to de-age Russell Crowe or
anything.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's like the Pope's exorcist now. He can be in a sequel to Master and Commander.
He'd probably have to get back in shape to do it.
Not if it's about him as an old guy.
Yeah, that's
true. Maybe
find the one where he like dies and do that.
Yeah. It is fascinating.
In it, we'll be good.
Yeah. Oh, now you're just.
It is fascinating to me that this movie came out the same year as the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Movie, and
2003 was
that one did so well, and this one did so poorly.
I think
especially since like there hadn't been really pirate movies since Cutthroat Island flopped so hard back in the 90s. The thing
is that Pirates of the Caribbean is in many ways the spiritual successor to The Mummy, in that it awakened many bi people's knowledge of the fact that they were bi.
I think the thing about pirates at the time too was you had, I mean, I'm just going to say,
you had Johnny Depp doing
Johnny Depp was the sexiest man in the world at the time, regardless of how you think about him now. He was at that time as a giant superstar. You had Orlando Bloom, literally in the middle.
Orlando Bloom, who had a great 2003.
Yeah, like his Legolas run. You had, it was a Disney property, so they could market that more to kids rather than like Master and Commander, which feels like very like snooty highbrow sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
It was also their first PG-13 movie.
It
so
was,
a
yeah.
little like darker and edgier for Disney too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just remember that weekend, everyone was wondering which movie is going to actually do well. No one thought both movies would do well. It was either Pirates or League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And I remember seeing Pirates thinking, wow, what a wonderful movie. And then I saw League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh God.
And I saw a franchise die, and Sean Connery said, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like literally. Said, I'm not making
force him to retire
any more movies after this. But like Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, and I like this, the second and third one. The fourth and fifth one do not exist. But I like the two Gore. I like the Gore Verbinski movies.
Gore Verbinski knows what he's fucking doing.
That first pirate movie is an absolute
It's great
masterpiece.
That is a swashbuckling adventure. Like that is 30s, 40s Hollywood mixed with like the state of the art visual effects. Like those makeup effects on the pirates, they still look great.
The choreography of the fight sequences, just like being able to understand to put it all
to go in and
the
out of the
frame.
moonlight. Oh,
yeah. Oh my God,
so
it's
good.
so good.
Also, I am very grateful to this film, and I have proof that kids today still know it because I work at a historic house and we have like a bed warming pan. And every time some kid will be like, "What's that?" And some other kid is like, "I know what that is. I saw it in Pirates of the Caribbean." And I'm like, okay, even though they're using it incorrectly in the film because you don't leave it in the bed or the bed catches on fire.
Yep.
So like Elizabeth Swann's serving woman was defo trying to kill her. But it's so funny. And I'm like, and the kids are like, oh yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean. And I'm like, oh, you third graders know that. Great. Like,
I mean, Nicole, can you blame her for wanting to kill her? With Orlando Bloom sitting right there, like, could you blame her? Like, I wasn't been like, yeah, get out of here, Elizabeth.
No, listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing that should have clicked in my brain much sooner is that while everybody else was like, I'm a Captain Jack Sparrow girly, I'm a Will Turner girly, I was like, y'all are paying attention to men with Elizabeth Swann on screen?
I mean, to be fair, Captain Barbosa, hello. Listen, Jeffrey Rush is having the time of his life in that movie.
Oh, he's so
good.
Absolutely.
I don't know what to do with that.
One of the best performances ever. He is serving the entire fucking time. He's so good in that movie. That movie doesn't work if Depp's performance, which is just like dancing an excellent tightrope, and you have opposite a great villain. And yeah, you know, Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley, they're good, but like there's a reason why like this movie.
That entire cast though is wild. Like you've got Jonathan Pryce, you've got Zoe Saldana, you've got Jack Davenport as Norrington, which like listen, now watching it, I'm like, listen, Davenport has good points. Like
it's such a good movie. I can watch it over and over again. Like
I love
so
that
rewarding.
movie because you can tell that Jeffrey Rush saw what Johnny Depp was doing on day one and was like, oh,
I can go.
You
there.
want the whole ham?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
This is the kind of movie we're making. All right.
Yeah.
This is an Easter movie because it's a ham dinner. All right.
Yes.
You know. All right.
He truly said, oh, Johnny Depp, you think you're doing the most? Well, let me tell you something. No one does more than Jeffrey Rush when Jeffrey Rush is on set.
I want to give a shout out to my favorite movie. It was mentioned earlier of 2003. It's not Return of the King. I rewatched it this week.
I'm shocked.
This movie rules, and that's something's got to give. Something's got to give.
I saw that in a theater.
Good movie.
One of my favorite Keanu roles.
Keanu's great, but like, I still think every time I watch this movie, how did Nancy Meyers get Jack Nicholson to do that? That performance, that movie. There are things in that movie like there's. Like it's so weird. Like it is kind of a weird movie, but it just works. And it's credit obviously to, you know, Nancy Meyers. She's a goat, you know, of the genre, and she knows how to work with movie stars. Diane Keaton's amazing in it. Amanda Peet, Keanu, like you mentioned, Frances frickin' McDormand showing up for like 5 minutes of screen time, but just like that's the Frances McDormand I want to hang out with. But like Nicholson giving probably his last great performance.
The Departed. Thank you very much.
Jack Nicholson giving probably his final great performance. But also too, like,
I mean, look, you ask, how did Nancy Meyers get Jack Nicholson to do this movie? Because she chooses him over Keanu Reeves. That's how she got him to do this movie. I mean,
which makes no sense. I'm
no
so
sense
sorry. It makes
at
no
all.
sense.
I mean, Jack
not a
is
lick of sense.
I mean, Jack is Jack. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but
you know.
Keanu is Keanu.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's not a bad choice for Diane. She's doing
Yeah,
okay.
it is.
No.
If you were Diane Keane and you could have had Keanu Reeves, like peak Keanu
As a
Reeves.
doctor. Like
2003 Keanu Reeves, come on. Like,
yeah,
love Jack, but let's be
it's
real.
one of those things like The Notebook where I'm like, you could have had James Marsden?
That's fair. No, that's fair.
Messed up.
Yeah, but
Like-
well, I mean, Ryan Gosling. But no,
not in that film though.
I love that. I love that movie so much. I think it's just perfectly written, and it's aged so well, and just makes me think about, like, you know, now with Nancy and like how she went on and she worked with Meryl and De Niro and all these. She just knows how to work with movie stars, and the kitchen in this movie, amazing. You know, and
how has the Nancy Meyers, like, they need more production design nominations for Nancy Meyer movies. Okay,
I get so angry when I watch this movie because, like, there's that point where they're in their PJs after her date with Keanu, and they're gonna make pancakes, right? And then, like, Amanda Peet comes and ruins that they're about to make pancakes, and I said, I want to see Diane Keaton and Jack Nicholson make pancakes in that glorious kitchen. What the hell, Nancy? Like, come on, like. She looked like she was going to throw some blueberries in there. Like, that just seems like a wonderful time, you know? So it's a great movie. I absolutely love that movie. Josh, did you have one or something you want to highlight from the year?
Yeah, because as we said, there's a ton here. I'm very happy that Nicole also mentioned Big Fish, because, like, seriously, that from like January 1st, I was anticipating that film. I actually have a memory of going online and downloading the QuickTime file.
Oh God!
3 hours
yes,
just
Josh.
to see
Yes.
like, because this was before YouTube existed, and you had to actually download videos. So
and you spent 3 days to get that.
Yeah. Yes. So absolutely, I really do love Big Fish. I think that is a highlight of Tim Burton's career. Another one that I also really like. It's one of my favorite movies, and this one. It got released in England in 2002, but it didn't come to the US until 2003. So it does count for this year. And that's 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
I was hoping you
would.
I think that is a horror masterpiece and is, to me, Danny Boyle's best movie. And the way that it introduces the horror elements so well, but also gives you this really great character piece with these individuals that you're following. I just think it's, as I said, it is a masterpiece. I love that film so much.
Brendan Gleeson's performance in that film.
Oh,
yes,
so heartbreaking.
He gets the drop of blood in his eye, and he knows that he's about to turn into a zombie, and he just looks at his daughter and says, "I love you very much." You know, like,
because that's all the time he has to say that.
Good.
You know?
So good.
This year had there's one movie I do want to. I mean, obviously, like, there's, you know, the Matrix movies, like Dan mentioned, or or Kill Bill Volume 1, which is
the best movie of the year.
It's fantastic. I love that movie. It's part 1 of my favorite Tarantino movie. Part 2 obviously coming out the next year. This movie this year has, like, you know, School of Rock and Memories of Murder, The Station Agent.
The Station Agent is
so good.
It's so good.
Dinklage is incredible in that movie.
So
Patricia
good.
Clarkson.
But
that was
nominated for the wrong movie this year. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like,
show of hands, everyone. Does Pieces of April exist?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, thank you very much.
I have yet to see it, honestly.
No.
Look.
This
Katie
exercise
Holmes
didn't make
that
me want
movie
to.
very close to her heart. Okay.
Yeah. But there was a movie this year that I remember seeing, and I feel like it's still, like, underseen because, like, it's very easy to dog on Hayden Christensen, but Shattered Glass.
Shattered Glass is fucking great.
Yeah.
So fucking good. Him and Sarsgaard are absolutely incredible in that movie.
I'm a Hayden Christensen defender.
You know, just a movie about an absolute habitual liar, and
maybe if more
plagiarizer.
people had seen this movie, we wouldn't have had to live through the past 7-8 years.
Yeah.
Saying.
It's just like the one of those like great thrillers we don't get to see a lot anymore too. It sort of coded, it feels like, in this, sort of investigative journalist, but like paranoid thrillers of like the 70s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's the closest thing you kind of get to that. And Christensen is actually really good in that movie.
So is Sarsgaard.
They're
both
good.
fantastic. Yeah.
It's that
really great
fucking, Luke Skywalker bias ass shit that he had to deal with for such a long time. And it sucks because he's actually, or no, Anakin Skywalker, sorry, but like he's actually like really good in the movie, and it's one of those. It's like, no, he can act if like it's maybe not a shit script by George Lucas.
I will defend to the death that the issues with him as Anakin are the script and not him.
Yeah,
he was
totally George Lucas.
He was giving all he could.
Yeah, a movie I do want to. I mean, obviously, Lost in Translation. We'll talk about that here in a little bit when we talk about screenplays and stuff like that. But there is a movie that I do. It's the dad movie of the year. Really, you would think that would be Lord of the Rings, but it's actually like Kevin Costner's Open Range. Have you guys ever seen that movie?
Yes.
You guys ever seen?
Yeah,
Range?
good movie.
Yeah.
Good
Not
movie.
in a while. I haven't rewatched it, but
That is a really good movie. It's him and Robert Duvall, and they play like free, like free grazers or whatever, and I think it's Diego Luna, if I'm not mistaken, is part of their crew, and he goes into this small town, and anyway, like the people don't like, they're free grazers, and they're not, living off the land, and so they like beat the hell out of him, and essentially like it's Duvall and Costner versus this town. And Michael Gambon is like the sheriff of the town, or the bad guy.
Yeah, Michael
and
Gambon.
The love interest for Kevin Costner is Annette Bening, and it's actually really, really effective freaking piece of entertainment. And
yeah,
the shootout's actually really good. Like if you for an end of the end of the movie shootout, it's probably one of Costner's best directed films.
And we don't have to talk about that year's other dad movie. We'll talk about it later. The Last Samurai.
I know what we're going to talk about. Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
We don't have to talk about that movie. There actually is a movie, because I would like us to all and I feel like I have to say this since Eric's not here, but can we all just agree that the year's best movie is actually Angels in America?
Yeah.
Can we all just get on that same page, because
that is a towering achievement.
Yeah, if it had been eligible, Justin Kirk would be my best actor winner.
If it had been eligible, it would have swept the Oscars. Sorry to Return of the King.
Yeah, it would have totally won the Los Angeles Film Critics Association's Best Film Award. You know what I mean?
And Meryl Streep would have won all the supporting actresses awards, and then we wouldn't have had to deal with
what we dealt with. Well, let's go and jump into the Oscars real quick. So I have some trivia before we do our shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and breaking down some stuff that we'd like to replace and talk about that. But I do also, the first question really is about our host, which is one of the great hosts of all time, which is Billy Crystal, right? So, as we all know, Billy Crystal, he comes out there and he does a medley of all the films nominated for Best Picture. So the first question is, what were the songs that he used as parodies for those films? Meaning, what was the original song that he then took and replaced it? So I'll start. What did he do Mystic River with? What was the original song?
Yeah, it wasn't Old Man River.
It was Old Man River. That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Just a wonderful start to that. And then, of course, what did he do for Lost in Translation? Do you guys know?
Wait, wasn't that one West Side Story?
Yep. What song though?
It was Maria.
Correct.
Yeah.
Also had an inappropriate joke about Scarlett Johansson in that as well. That has not aged well.
Yeah,
every one of these songs had at least 2 jokes that have not aged well.
There are a ton of things that are just crazy about this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I like Billy Crystal, but like he was doing the Sammy Davis Jr. blackface in the 2011 ceremony, so it's like,
look, this was a very 2003.
It was very 2003.
moment.
But you just you're like, even then, I don't know if I would find it funny. Like it's not very inventive. Now, Lord of the Rings.
My favorite things.
Yep. Do you remember the controversy at the time? The like celebrity controversy at the time that he included inside that song.
What was going on back then? Britney, maybe?
Yep. It was Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. What was the other one? It was another big event. We usually tie it together. What?
Lindsay Lohan?
Nope. We usually tie this event together in the ratings with the Oscars.
The bombing of Baghdad. God, what happened in 2003?
Anybody? Bueller? No. Janet Jackson's nipple slip.
Oh my God! Wait, yeah.
Yeah, they went on a delay for the very first time because of that.
Yeah, basically like low hanging fruit. You know, like that's what the Oscars are known for. You know what I mean? Seabiscuit. You guys remember? It's actually this one was probably the best one.
Seabiscuit.
Yeah, that was the best one. Using Goldfinger. Do you remember the baseball controversy that he had in the song?
Okay.
No.
It was the Pete Rose scandal because Pete Rose had released the book about Pete Rose cheated on baseball. He's not in the Hall of Fame, Dan. I'll tell you about it all.
He cheated on baseball with who?
He bet on baseball. Like you can't bet on baseball and all that stuff.
I'm kidding.
And Master and Commander. You guys remember the song? It was.
No, wasn't it like the Frank Sinatra? The like, come sail with me.
Yeah, it was come fly with me.
Fly with me.
Yes. Yeah. And then of course he ended it with what Josh said, which is Sammy Davis Jr. Correct. Yeah, he couldn't resist.
He really couldn't resist.
Okay. Other trivia. Who uttered the now infamous line at the beginning of the show about the movies?
John Connery.
There you go. The movies. That came from this year. Right? How many viewers viewed the Oscars in 2003 at this ceremony?
This is one of their peaks, right? Yeah. Like at the time it was upwards of 40.
I'll let you round up numbers. I won't do like the point. That's stupid. Just give me a round number.
Well, what are we doing? Like the Price is Right?
That is correct. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Price is Right. Dan, you're first. Okay. Item up for bid is the viewership of the 2003-2004. What is your bid?
My bid is 43 million.
Ding. All right, that's in. All right. Nicole. No. That's in. That's locked in. That's locked in.
Oh, okay. That's locked in. Okay.
Oh, how many millions of people watch the Oscars?
I'll go 47.
Okay. All right. That's locked in. Josh Parham.
I'll just say 49.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let's just do it.
All right. And that's locked in. Zach Laws.
Well, the Price is Right strategy is to do 49 plus 1. So yes. I'll say 50.
All right. Actual retail price is 44 million. So Dan wins because you all went.
All right.
Yeah, it was actually 43.56. So technically Dan was even more on the money because he had 43.
Right. I knew it was between 40 and 45, but
how long was the ceremony? Let's do that one.
20?
It wasn't. I don't think it was 4 hours. I don't think it was that bad.
Nicole?
Oh, God.
This is fun.
I'll go 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Okay. Zach?
I said 320.
Okay. Joshua Parham.
I'll go 337.
All right. And Dan Bayer.
Nicole said 3 hours 40, which is, I guess, what I would have guessed. So 3 hours and 41 minutes.
Damn. It's a cold ass move. But that means that Dan
No
wins
kidding.
again because it's 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh my god.
There you go. What
All
a
right,
jerk
Dan.
move.
Martin Scorsese.
Yeah. All right.
I'm
The
sorry,
In
Nicole.
Memoriam
It's okay. I
had
forgive you.
two the In Memoriam had 2 special presentations. Who were the special presentations for? Basically, they remembered 2 people absolutely specifically out of the group
God,
that passed away in the year.
Is one of them Katharine Hepburn?
That is correct.
Okay.
Josh, bonus. I'll give you a bonus.
Oh, God.
Josh, who presented the package for her?
Oh, I don't know.
Think big movie star. Big Oscar winning.
I mean, I don't know.
female
Jack,
movie.
did he do it?
No, it was not Jack Nicholson.
No.
Does anybody else have a guess as to who
Was it
presented the clip
Meryl?
package? It was not Meryl.
Mm,
She was known as America's Sweetheart.
oh, Julia Roberts.
That is correct.
Mhm.
The other one,
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. Former Oscar host.
Oh,
that's
Bob
right.
Hope.
Bob Hope. Yeah,
There
that's
you go.
right. He did die in
Who
03.
presented Bob Hope's package? Essentially honored him.
Well, you would think it would be Billy Crystal. So
Yeah,
it
that would
probably
make the most
wasn't.
sense.
It was not though. Think big,
Right,
movie
because
star.
they never do the most obvious
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Nope, they never do. That's why
Big
it
movie
would
star.
make sense.
Bob Hope.
Think likable personality in Hollywood currently today.
Mel Gibson.
Likeable
Him and
person.
Bob hung out a lot.
it was Johnny Depp. It
No,
was a tribute to alcoholism. No,
it was Jesus. No, think likable personality in Hollywood still today.
I mean, the only one is Tom Hanks.
That is
right?
correct.
Like,
Oh,
I can see that. I guess
that makes sense. All right.
That makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. Who won the? We all know Peter Jackson won the Oscar, but he did not win the BAFTA for Best Director. Who won the BAFTA for Best Director?
Peter Weir.
That is correct.
Mhm.
That's correct. What were the 2 films that were nominated for SAG Ensemble but did not get nominated for Best Picture?
One of them was a station agent.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
A wonderful inspired choice by the
Yeah.
SAG.
Love that movie.
What was it like? Old
Was it
Mountain?
Pirates?
It was not Pirates. It
No.
was not Cold Mountain.
Is it something like Love Actually?
I was gonna say, is it Love Actually?
Yeah.
It was not Love Actually. Love Actually did well with obviously the Baptist, but not with
Yeah.
SAG, unfortunately for some people.
Ensemble.
Yeah, because stuff. This is because I saw the Oscars, but I did not watch all of the precursors this year. That didn't come until 2004, so
Yeah.
I don't really remember SAG all that much.
Was it Big Fish?
It was not Big Fish.
No, it wasn't Big Fish. I would have
Unfortunately.
remembered that.
Is it in
Was it a-
America?
I'm sorry,
Was it-
Zachary. What was that?
Was it in America?
That is correct.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
In America. All right. Who was the only actor to sweep the season?
Is that Theron?
Yeah, it was Charlize.
It was not Charlize Theron.
Oh,
Renee. Was it Renee Zellweger?
It was
No.
Renee Zellweger.
It was.
It was Renee Zellweger. Because who won the BAFTA for Best Actress?
Oh right, that's right. Scarlett Johansson won the BAFTA.
For Lost in Translation.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
okay.
And who won the and bonus question, who won the, well, I guess Charlize technically won the Golden Globe there, but who won the comedy musical actress Golden Globe?
Wasn't that Jamie Lee?
Diane.
No, it was Diane Keaton.
Oh no, it was
Diane
Diane
Keaton.
Keaton.
Mm.
Yeah.
Who won Best Supporting Actor at BAFTA?
Oh, was that Bill Nye?
Bill Nye for Love
Yeah.
Actually.
One of my
Honestly,
favorite BAFTA wins.
I was going to say,
Like,
one of the most inspired things the BAFTAs have ever done.
Yes. All right.
Deserved.
You guys have to think a little bit outside of 2003 and think a little into 2004.
oh, come
Okay.
on.
All
Which
right.
movie did Return of the King finally get dethroned as the number one movie at the
Oh.
box office?
Oh, was it The Passion of the Christ?
It was not The Passion of the Christ. This is very similar to the question I asked you guys about Titanic, and obviously that was Lost in Space. So what
Which I wasn't on
that.
that episode, but I would have known the answer to
I know
that.
you would have known, Josh.
Yeah.
I know you would have known. I will give you the genre,
Okay.
a comedy.
So, early 2004 comedy.
Yes.
And it's
What,
not-
like the second, was that The Hangover?
Maybe.
Like, were we there yet? I
No,
don't
we were
remember
not
what
there.
year.
The Hangover
The
was
Hangover's not until
year.
2009, and the sequel's not until later. Sorry. The first
Maybe
couple.
from 2004. That's not The Passion.
Mm.
I will tell you another hint, if this will help. It starred a member of the cast of Friends.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is it like the whole 10 yards?
Nope.
It's-
That's a good guess, though, but
Mm.
it is not correct.
Is it Aniston in it?
That is correct.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
Which is funny because the movie I initially thought of was Bruce Almighty, but that was still 2003.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like I could see the poster in my
Mhm.
mind, like the vague
Mhm.
outline of it.
You know, it's there.
And this shows you that we're not cheating and looking it up.
No, I know you guys aren't.
Because we're
Yeah.
actually struggling.
This
so
is good. I ask good questions.
oh god, those like mid 2000s comedies though, they're like so bad and they all blend
They're
together.
so
It's the problem.
interchangeable.
Who's in it?
Yeah.
I will give you the answer.
Wait.
Oh.
No, I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue.
You're the oldest amongst us, Dan, so you would have the
Yeah.
better chance of
I know,
Dan,
like, but this is why I'm saying, like, I feel like it's right there. I feel like I know what it is,
yeah.
but it's just not coming.
Mm.
Fuck.
Mm.
Wait, was it before or after the Oscars actually happened?
Oh, that's a good question. I do believe
Ooh.
I would have to go and look that up. Actually,
Well, this was the first year the Oscars were in February, so I do remember that. It was the end of
Mm.
It
February.
was around February. That is correct. So it was like right around then.
Oh, well. Oh, but no, but that doesn't. I would have said 50 First Dates, but that's
no.
not Aniston. That's
No,
Drew
it's
Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore. How dare you?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
No,
I got
Sorry,
nothing.
Dan. Movie
No.
is Jennifer Aniston and Ben Stiller and Philip
Oh.
Seymour Hoffman.
Oh
Is
my god.
Along
Why?
Elaine Polly. Oh my god.
Why?
No.
Oh my God. No. Okay.
That everyone
Ugh.
wants.
Bleh, bleh,
I
bleh.
forgot she was in that movie.
Yeah, right.
I was being kind to her.
It's a terrible movie. That's
Yeah, it's not very good.
Philip Seymour Hoffman, innocent. Absolutely great.
Well, as always.
Yeah, as always.
Yeah.
He's great in that movie. Especially the basketball sequence. Let it rain. All right.
That is the only thing I remember from that movie.
Over the 5 films, still going here. Over the 5 films nominated for the Razzie for Worst Picture of the Year.
from Justin to Kelly.
That is correct. That's one.
Yeah. Was Cat in the Hat one?
That is 2.
Oh, it should
Okay.
have.
Yeah. Valid.
One of them I will not agree. I do not agree with.
Well, it's the Razzies, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of bullshit.
From 2000
mm,
wasn't it like Bringing Down the House? Was that one of them?
No, that wasn't there. But that would have been. That's a good guess. One of
well,
these
that is
movies
kind of a
doesn't
guilty
exist.
pleasure for me.
I'll give you one of them because it doesn't exist.
Was Hulk one of them?
No, Hulk was not one of them.
No.
Mm.
The real Cancun, whatever the hell that is.
No.
Oh, I remember that movie. That's like a documentary about spring breakers. That's what
One-
Oh God.
Mm.
Oh Lord.
That just sounds like a Firefly Festival.
Mm.
So much fun.
The other
Is
was
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen one?
it was not. Surprisingly, that was not one of them. You would think, right, Josh?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna get into my thoughts about that.
I know that
movie.
The Room wasn't one because they hadn't caught
not.
on.
Yeah,
to
The
it
Room
yet.
was not
Yeah.
on there. That kind of carried on.
Yeah, that was later that it became a thing.
One of
Mhm.
these, the winner of this is with a famous couple at the time, and now they're a famous couple again.
Oh, Geely.
That is correct. Geely was the
Oh,
worst
right,
picture
that was
of the year.
2003.
That was
I thought that was
2003.
04.
Huh.
And the last worst best picture,
Was it The Haunted Mansion
it was not Haunted Mansion. That would have been a good guess too. That would have been. These are all
or Underworld?
these are all better, worse movies than
Daredevil.
Angels Full Throttle. Charlie's Angels Full Throttle.
What? Charlie's Angels Full Throttle is awesome. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's called misogyny.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's rampant. With
That is
that.
only because I think that movie was controversial and it had the weird, the bad stuff behind the scenes with Bill Murray and all that other stuff. And people don't like McG. So
Well,
It was because
yeah.
it was a popular movie that starred women that kind of bombed.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
therefore it was a
Is that
target.
correct?
Well, yeah, and I remember like all the coverage of that movie was
Kind of
about
bombed. Yeah.
women's body, which was pretty gross, and
Mm.
let's do one more. One more. All right. This is a group. We can
Okay.
do this as a group effort. Everybody together, all at one, except me, obviously, because I know the answers. What was the top 10 at the worldwide box office for the year 2003?
Okay, well, obviously, Lord of the Rings: Return
Obviously.
of the King. Obviously,
Pirates of the
Caribbean.
That's two.
Matrix, one of those or both.
Both of them.
Yeah,
Is that what your answer is?
that's one of them. Yeah, I'm putting a
Which
Mhm.
I need titles, please. They have different
Reloaded
titles.
and Revolutions.
That is correct. That is correct. That's 4.
X2.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Finding Nemo.
That is correct.
Yeah.
You got 6.
Mm.
Italian Job.
No.
It's a good movie though.
Good movie though.
Great movie.
Better than the
No.
original.
Was the Terminator 3 one?
Yes. Terminator 3,
right,
Rise
Terminator
of the
3.
Machines, baby.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Governor. Right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The Governor.
How many have we gotten?
You got 7. You
7.
have 3 more to go.
You saw
I
my
mean, I
post.
guess I'll throw it out there. Too Fast, Too Furious, but I don't think they were
That
that
is
big
incorrect.
yet. Yeah,
What
they
was
weren't
that,
big
Zach?
yet.
Bruce Almighty. That was a huge hit, wasn't it? Was that
Yeah.
That was the number 5 film of the year.
No.
Correct.
Damn.
Can you imagine a comedy making that much money these days? Like,
No.
No.
Hey, Josh, guess what? It made $484
Yeah.
million dollars.
insane.
Worldwide.
Wild. Insane.
Truly wild.
You got 2 more. One of them is a sequel. The other one is an Oscar film. Oscar epic. I'd say.
Oscar
Master and
Epic?
no.
Master and Commander?
No,
No,
it
it's
didn't
not
do
Master
that
and
well.
Commander.
Oh, okay.
No, no. But I would constitute
Hmm.
this as an epic, I guess. I think
What's
so. If
The
Master and
Last
Commander,
Samurai did not do that well.
The Last Samurai is number 6. So that is
Oh,
what?
correct.
Wow.
I should have known.
That made
Jesus.
$454
What the
million
hell?
worldwide.
Wow.
The power of Tom Cruise.
America never fails to disappoint me.
Movie stars,
That man
baby.
saving movies every year. Just-
I don't. Does nobody like that movie? People don't like the movie.
I haven't seen it. In
I like some elements to The Last Samurai,
Yeah.
even though I recognize that it is incredibly problematic, like most Edward Zwick movies. But I love the Ken Watanabe performance so much
gonna say
that
that.
it
Yeah, Watanabe
rides
is
it a
good.
little bit. Like
I was
said,
gonna
understand there's a ton
say-
of problems, though.
Ken Watanabe innocent.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is excellent.
Otherwise, you wouldn't want to watch that movie with me. That's all I'll say.
Okay. All right. I haven't
and
seen.
honestly,
I
like
haven't
said,
seen it in
it's
years.
Most Edward Zwick movies, because I have the very similar
Yeah.
issues, honestly, with Glory.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh glory. Oof.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
glory.
week is.
This is the number 10 film at the box office. It's a sequel. It stars a big movie star. Some would say this movie star loves slapping people.
Huh.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. And it was a sequel.
Yeah.
Oh wait, it's Men in Black 2, right?
No.
No, that was
No.
2002.
But you're
Okay.
close.
But it's got Will Smith, right? This is-
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Wait.
Will Smith
Oh.
sequel 2003.
Will Smith sequel from 2003. 3.
Yeah.
Was it a sequel to a movie he was
Bad
in?
Boys 2. It's
Bad Boys 2
Oh
made $273 million
Yeah.
at the box office.
The film
I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
did do
her.
really well.
Let's just say this. This
year.
is what's really fascinating. 1 through 9 made over $400 million. The dip to Bad Boys 2 from 407 for X2 to 273 for Bad Boys 2. It is a massive dip for that. So
Which is
just
because that movie could have been the #1 highest grosser of the year by all accounts.
I wonder if you could like add the Matrix together and then they would. I don't know if they still. I would actually. I don't know.
Man,
Yeah.
but like think about it. This was a time when something like Bruce Almighty and The Last Samurai made more money than Bad Boys 2.
Yeah.
And
I
made
could not
more money.
imagine something like that happening today.
And made more money than superhero movies like Daredevil.
Yeah.
You know, like even though that movie wasn't good, like, and Hulk, like those movies, even if they weren't good, would still trounce an original comedy these days.
And it is always interesting to look at this and see that The Matrix Reloaded made $739 million, and The Matrix Revolutions made 427, proving that audiences, if you don't
Which
give
is
them what
dumb
they want,
because Reloaded, like
great.
if anything, should make you more excited for the finale.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
Really bad stuff by audiences. Who presented Best Picture that year, guys?
Spielberg.
Yeah.
Papa Spielberg.
Yep.
Came
It's
in
a clean
and said,
sweep.
It's a clean sweep. There you go. All right. Y'all want to play some Should Coulda Wouldas and then get out of here?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So Zach hasn't been here before, but he should know the drill. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Right, Zach? So
yeah.
Should have won. And could have won and would have won if you were running the whole shebang. All right. Does anybody have anything in the tech categories that they would like to replace as the winner? Because Lord of the Rings has a ton of awards.
Yes. Wait, from the nominees or from something else?
Okay. So
okay.
Yeah.
So the rules are that you pick out of these nominees, who would you want to pick? Now, if you keep it there, that's fine. That's your winner. Go on ahead. They keep that Oscar. If you want to replace it with one of the nominees first, tell us which one you would like to replace that winner with. But then ultimately, if you're going to replace maybe one or two of the nominations inside there, tell us what you'd like to replace that with. And if that's your overall winner too, let us know that as well. All right.
Can I ask a question to start?
Yes.
Was the Pirates of the Caribbean score eligible?
Ooh, I believe so.
I don't know, honestly.
I don't know.
Why wouldn't it have been?
Because it's basically Gladiator.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
right.
But like, I mean, yes, but officially it's not like.
Because
you know what, Nicole?
If eligible.
You know what, Nicole? You make up your own rules because we don't conform to the Academy.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, in that case, I honestly don't remember the score, so I'm going to kick out Cold Mountain's score.
Okay.
I'm going to put in Pirates of the Caribbean, and I am going to take that win from Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, to give it to Pirates of the Caribbean, one of the most iconic film scores of all time.
This is fair. This is how we play the game, folks. You know, stuff.
I
Nicole, of the score category of the score nominees here, who would you have picked if you couldn't pick?
Of what's here, I honestly would need to
listen to them again.
Listen to them both on their own, not in the context of the movie, probably. But if not Lord of the Rings, it would be Big Fish.
Yeah, I probably.
And I also like Danny Elfman's work. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, Thomas Newman's work in Finding Nemo is really great. Right.
I am a Finding Nemo hater.
Yeah.
So.
Ooh.
Finding Nemo is one of my least favorite animated films. So.
You don't like fish? Is that the?
No, okay, and I've shared this hot take before, but my sister and I agree on this. We're like, why would you want to find Nemo? Nemo is annoying as hell.
What?
Let him go. Like, let him free. Like, I don't want to find Nemo. And
He is
honestly,
your
Nicole!
child. When you
I don't
have
wanna find
children,
Marlin
you will
either.
understand.
Oh my
Nicole,
God.
Nicole, you were never
Yeah.
annoyed at Hannah growing up.
Yeah, but
Never.
Hannah was not as annoying as Nemo.
As an uncle to a small child, I would want to find my my little fish.
Annoying little shit of a nephew.
That's all he
I also
has.
Marlin
That's all
annoys
Marlin
me.
has. Damn it.
Yeah, well, that's probably because Marlin's also annoying as hell. So
Oh my God, Nicole.
Dory
Yeah.
innocent. Crush the turtle
Ironically.
innocent.
No,
Ironically.
Nicole.
Truly.
That Dory is not innocent. That's not true. I'm sorry. I was just wanted
Yeah.
to bring that back.
That is not the truth, Nicole.
Hole.
But yeah, so I ain't
Absolutely.
about to give that an Oscar.
No,
for
Gil
sure.
is innocent. Willem Dafoe is amazing in that movie. That's who the
True.
movie should
True.
be.
That's actually, you make an excellent point.
damn right. Because Willem
Yeah.
Dafoe is never bad at anything. Period.
Also,
He is in bad things, but he's
in
never
bad things,
in anything.
But he's never bad
True.
in it. He's one of those. Yeah, no, that's fair.
yeah,
will-
true. Speaking actually also of score, I know we talked about how the movie's not very good, but I do really love the Last Samurai score.
That is a
And
very good score.
I think considering that Howard Shore did win for the first movie, so it's not like he was unrewarded for his work there. And
Mhm.
yeah, there's new themes in the last one in Return of the King, but I feel okay giving that to somebody else. And I just remember being obsessed with the Last Samurai score, especially when it came out. I think it's really, really great.
Anybody else have a below the line?
I have my biggest snub
Okay.
of this whole year.
Yeah.
Is in best costume design.
Okay.
I don't see why we needed to give Seabiscuit a
Oh,
nomination for
Here we-
costume design.
Here we go.
Especially when the film Down with Love exists.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
fair.
And that
See,
film
yeah.
should have one best costume design. Like those, like I love the costumes in Lord of the Rings. They're all great. About half of them have been used in previous movies. So bye-bye.
But it never won in costume design before.
I
That's the
know, but
reason
like
why.
whatever.
Yeah.
The costumes in Down with Love, like the 60s Doris Day Rock Hudson pastiche, and like so colorful and clever, and like every frame of that movie is just eye-poppingly gorgeous.
Mhm.
And
While we're
Ewan
doing
McGregor has
that,
never looked better.
I'm gonna build on that, Dan, and say I'm gonna make that same switch, but then also kick out, much as I love it, Master and Commander, because
Ooh.
it's a lot of the same costume pieces, and they're the
That's fair.
easiest costumes to do because you literally just
Open up his textbook.
literally look at any sketch
This
of a
is-
soldier in
this
that time period
hurts.
and are like, let's
This
recreate it. And I would put in Pirates of the Caribbean
Okay, that's
because
fair.
Yeah.
those costumes are iconic
It's a
and
little bit of
also
an
play a
upgrade, too.
role
Yeah.
in the film.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would say, Pirates of the Caribbean absolutely should have won makeup
Yeah.
Yes.
over Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
That's tough.
This is the kind of nomination that would never have happened at the Academy Awards.
That's
but-
okay. That's okay, Zach. You can say it.
Thank-
Yeah, say
um,
it.
thank you. The cinema Harris's I can't say his name. Harris Savitas' cinematography for the movie Elephant.
Oh,
You know, really, I think like
yeah.
central to the effect of that film, all of those really long tracking shots following these kids throughout the hallways of this school, just sort of like lulling you into a rhythm for the day and how this horrible event just disrupts everything.
I guess Van Sant is so good.
Brilliant film. And, I think that what Harris and, Savitas never got a nomination before he died. And
Travesty.
that he was never
Absolutely.
recognized in that way. So I would put that there. And I also think, a film like Kill Bill not getting into any tech category.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. It should, for me, it is my sound editing winner.
Art
Yeah.
direction, sound editing, cinematography, film editing.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, honestly, costume designs, like I would kick out Girl with the Pearl Earring because
Yeah.
that movie doesn't exist.
And that was a
I mean,
cinematography.
it exists.
It doesn't exist.
Absolutely exists.
Nobody talks about that damn movie.
As an entry on the IMDb page for the 2003 Academy Awards.
I don't see that movie in the catalog of history. I do not see it. It does not.
Look, Eduardo Serra, the cinematographer, will argue against you that this movie absolutely exists because he did great work on that movie.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm trying to think. Oh, easily another one. Girl with the pearl earring. Please see the door. Thank you. In art direction, and I would put in Something's Got to Give, because obviously Nancy Meyers, she is the queen of production design, and the fact that she is not in this category is ridiculous. Also, too, I will kick out Seabiscuit, and I will put in Pirates of the Caribbean, because how is that not in for production design? That's kind of insane that movie's not in there. Like, I love Master and Commander. Also, too, I will kick out Master and Commander. I will put in The Matrix Reloaded, because that movie's production design is absolutely insane.
I mean, I'm not going to do that, but I understand.
Like, that highway scene, Josh.
Also, I'm going to kick out while we're talking about The Matrix Reloaded.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick out Master and Commander from Best Visual Effects and put in Matrix Reloaded.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Because that car chase, that car chase is out of this world.
Yeah, fair. I just realized I'm gonna kick out. Honestly, I'm trying to figure out which best original song I'm kicking out, because I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever, any of them.
They're all bad.
Yeah,
hey,
I'm gonna kick them all out.
Belleville Rendezvous is good.
Belleville Rendezvous and You'll Be My Ein True Lover are actually good.
Okay. We'll kick out, let's see, Scarlet Tide. And I'm gonna put in Welcome by Phil Collins from Brother Bear. Which is a banger. And also Phil Collins, anytime he does work for Disney, should get awards.
Brother Bear. Another movie I didn't remember.
Yeah.
My really controversial thing is that, like, I would probably give Best Animated Feature to Brother Bear over Finding Nemo, because Brother Bear is an iconic movie and also one of Joaquin Phoenix's best roles.
Well, you can't see him.
Really?
Yeah.
He also famously, when like asked about like not getting an Oscar nomination for Gladiator, was like, "Who cares? I'm gonna be voicing a bear." And that's how everyone found out he was cast.
Yeah. One other one I would also throw out is for film editing. I would absolutely remove Cold Mountain, because you cannot show me evidence that movie was edited at all.
Thank you. Or
Yep.
I would replace it with 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh, see, that's my problem, is that I don't know what I would put into that category, like between
Anything else?
Yeah, I mean between Matrix Reloaded, between
Kill Bill,
the Italian Job, Kill Bill,
Honestly,
even,
Josh, Big Fish. Like, that movie has a lot of different storylines going on for it. That is a mastercraft of keeping that movie cohesive and moving. It's really, really great editing from that film. I would
Am I just being mean if I say that I would also take Best Cinematography from Seabiscuit? To give it to, and I'm struggling to figure out who exactly I would give it to, because my first inclination is actually Big Fish, because I think it has a lot of like really creative. I mean, obviously, like it's a Tim Burton movie, but honestly, I could also make an argument to just give Pirates a freaking cinematography.
I would like take out all of this lineup except Master and Commander and just recreate it from scratch. Because this lineup for cinematography hurts my eyes.
You take away from City of God?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that.
No, that's the one other that I wouldn't. I couldn't do it. I do like Girl with a Pearl Earring, but I know I'm in a lot of people feel differently.
Listen, I'm taking out Cold Mountain and Seabiscuit in that case to put in Big Fish and Pirates.
Okay,
well, I would easily take out at least Seabiscuit and put in Kill Bill Volume 1.
I am going to say this. I know that we're taking out a lot of Seabiscuits nominations.
Not a bad film.
It's not a bad movie. Like,
No.
Not a bad film, just
movie.
not an Oscar nomination worthy one necessarily.
you
Yeah,
can, but you can
precisely.
understand why it got nominated, though. It makes
Sure.
perfect sense.
I mean, sure, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
but nobody
like,
thinks
it
about that movie in the 20 years that it's been out.
That movie does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I did rewatch it this week because I hadn't seen it in a while.
How
watch
can
it
you
for-
rewatch a movie that doesn't exist, Ryan?
You can watch it
Y'all,
for free.
I literally
with ads on YouTube.
I just went to
Yeah.
look
Yeah,
at
it
its
doesn't
Wikipedia
exist.
page because I was like, who is in that?
Tobey Maguire, baby.
Tobey Maguire?
Yeah,
Tobey Maguire, Chris Cooper, who's absolutely great in that movie. Bridges,
got a SAG nomination, I believe.
he did.
Yeah.
And
I remember
Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth Banks in it. I do not remember Tobey
I remember
Maguire.
William H. Macy because talk about a ham.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All over the
He's-
trailer. I remember that.
Also,
Sodium
David
counts are high for
McCullough
that one.
narrating that. David McCullough being the narrator is one of the most fascinating things I've seen on any cast list ever.
He's actually it's actually like really soothing and really good narration. Like it starts really right off the picture, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm in good hands. I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I
right.
just
Yeah, it is one of
that's
those as soon as he starts
fascinating.
talking, you're like, oh, this is the type of movie this is gonna be. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's not technically a bad thing, but it's not.
It's not
gonna
a
go
knock,
anywhere
but-
before that. you
Yeah.
know? I do think that Tobey Maguire is the problem of that movie, but that's just me. But
Or Toby.
well, I mean, be better. All right, let's do adapted screenplay. Obviously, this is Lord of the Rings that won. American Splendor, City of God, Mystic River, Seabiscuit. I know that Dan's ready to, send Seabiscuit to the glue factory here. With this nomination.
Absolutely. And I'm not ashamed about it at all. When you have The Shape of Things in a year like this and it doesn't get nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, something is wrong.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what you're taking out, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I
is it
am
your
going to
winner
take
too?
out.
No. My winner would honestly probably still be Return of the King.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm keeping Lord of the Rings as my winner, but I'm taking out Seabiscuit and putting in Master and Commander, mostly because I think that's a
Yeah.
really interesting adaptation process and that it's like taken from 3 different novels in a series. And I think that they do a good job of condensing it down to like a, 2 hours and like 20-minute long movie. And not, going on for too long.
Okay. Josh?
Yeah. What's funny about this category is that for the longest time, I felt like this was a very undeserved win for Return of the King, and I felt like Mystic River really should have won this one, and I felt that way for so long. And then I
Really?
rewatched Mystic River.
I'd like to say that seems very unlike you, Josh.
Yeah, well, that was before I rewatched it, and did not love Mystic River as much as my memory had led me to believe. So I actually
Mystic River is
fine.
not a very Josh Parham movie. I'm
No, it's not. Well, I saw it when I was 13, so I hadn't seen it
Cut
in a
Josh
while.
some slack.
So yeah, I am fine with Lord of the Rings winning this. I would also remove Seabiscuit and replace it with Master and Commander, which actually then
Nice.
would be my personal winner for adapted screenplay.
I like Mystic River until the last 5 minutes of that movie.
Yeah, I would actually also probably remove Mystic River as well and replace it with Big Fish.
Yeah, that would be my second
That's fair.
pick.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So your overall winner was what again, Josh?
Of the nominees, it'd be Lord of the Rings, but personally, Master and Commander.
Right. Zach?
Well, I was a big Mystic River fan too when it came out. It's of similar being 13 years old at that time. I've also read the book, and it is a very good adaptation of that book of what we can tell. I mean, we know that Clint Eastwood doesn't deviate from a screenplay very much. So, but I do think that like most of the effect of that movie comes from the way that Eastwood directs it, more than anything else. Just like the technical precision with which he makes that movie.
Which is odd for Eastwood because normally he's very dependent on having a good script. And it's like one of the few occasions where his direction actually is better than the script.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would be my personal winner anymore. Because I do think that like what Jackson and company did with adapting the Lord of the Rings was pretty outstanding. But you know what? I'll just stick with it to be different. I would have also replaced Seabiscuit with Master and Commander. And I do think that Big Fish is similarly deserving of an adapted screenplay nomination, and honestly was
Agreed.
kind of unfairly, I think, dismissed when it came out. Like it's kind of it's mind-boggling to me that it only got the one nomination for score, and as we were talking about with all these tech categories and stuff, and
the
supporting actor as well.
I feel like if that movie came out now, it would be looked so much differently, because people forget that there was a narrative about Tim Burton's own life with that movie, because he was dealing with the death of his father at that point too. And I feel like, given how much we have seen movies that are from filmmakers that talk about their own lives, like it just seems like that movie was a little bit ahead of its time.
If Tim Burton directed that movie today, it would absolutely sweep the Oscars. Like, just people would be so overjoyed that he had gotten back to that kind of filmmaking.
And I feel like that's one of those instances where you can see like the disconnect between the Academy and like audiences, because even though Big Fish may not have been like the biggest hit, like people really loved that movie. Like that was one of the cultural touchstones from this year. At the time.
I would kick out Seabiscuit in City of God, and I would put in it's just
it's one of my favorite movies of the year.
To City of God.
I'm putting in Big Fish, and I don't remember if Shattered Glass was eligible for adapted or original, because it was based off an article.
Was adaptive.
I
think it was adapted. So
I would put Shattered Glass in. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
And then I would give I would give the win to Return of the King. Like,
do you guys remember American Splendor very well? I have not seen it.
Yeah, I rewatched it recently.
Holds up?
I don't remember it too well, but I remember it being very good.
I like that movie a lot.
I remember Giamatti just being absolutely incredible.
Yeah, Giamatti just being knocking everyone else.
How he went like a 4 or 5 year run and never won an Oscar. Obviously, he didn't get nominated for this or Sideways, and then he lost to Clooney for Cinderella Man. And then he just like,
I love when he finally gets nominated for an Oscar. It's for freaking Cinderella Man.
Yeah, but he's actually good in it still then too.
He's the best thing about the movie.
He is, but like
and then it's just like, no, it's Clooney's time, and so he's gonna win. Like Clooney wins that Oscar when he should have won probably something else. That's a different conversation for another time. But
but that's when we talk about 2005.
Yeah, but it's just like, God, that's infuriating. And then that man's never seen the Oscar ceremony, at least as a nominee, since, which sucks. Original screenplay, I feel like people don't want to touch original screenplay because of Sofia Coppola's win. It was prehistoric, and
I mean, I'm not touching the win, but I'll touch other things there.
Yeah, I'll touch a lot of other things.
All right, go for it.
Got feeling hands for this category.
Yeah.
I mean, my first, maybe this is a hot take. I don't really know. There's a couple of things in here that like I'm not really familiar enough with to really feel like I can say in terms of like the barbarian invasions and Dirty Pretty Things. But because of that, you know what? I'm snapping Finding Nemo out of there. And I'm going to put in Love Actually, because I think it is actually one of the greatest examples of how to write something that handles that many characters.
I love Love Actually, but I have been known to refer to it as a Frankenstein's monster of spare rom-com parts.
I mean, but I do think
which
it
is
does
both
a good job
a compliment.
Connecting.
Yeah, it's both a compliment and a criticism.
It is much better than every film that has ever tried to like copy it.
Yes. Yeah. Hindsight with this one is very much like, it could be done well. Yeah.
I just don't like that movie for some reason. People show it to me all the time, and it's around the holidays, and it's like, I'd just rather watch something else.
Why do you hate Emma Thompson?
It's not about Emma Thompson.
Why do you hate Love, Ryan? Why do you hate Love?
You hate Bill Nye? Is that it? You don't like Bill Nye singing?
Nicole said Love is dead on last week's show, so technically, it was killed before.
Yeah, Love died when Alan Rickman's character cheated on Emma Thompson's character.
It's true.
Not a movie that's my cup of tea during the holidays, but and I think is a kind of a mess. Like it's like Dan literally said exactly what I would say. It's like all the cliched parts you put around and just put a reef on it, and then you're all good to go. It's not also particularly my favorite Richard Curtis film. That would probably be About Time, or
I mean, yeah.
or Four Winds.
I feel like Curtis is kind of divisive with some people, though. You
Yeah.
either are on that wavelength or you're not.
Yeah. Like, no, I like Four Weddings and a Funeral, and I like About Time, but then like that movie, and then like Notting Hill, he wrote Notting Hill, right, too.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and I'm a
Notting
little bit
Hill's
mixed
great.
on that one as well. So like, yeah, it's it sometimes
Brian
they work,
hates love.
sometimes they
Pass it
don't.
on.
Yeah.
Yep. Pass it on.
Listen, my thing with Love Actually is that
I
the
hate
like
Love.
opening narration around talking about like Heathrow Airport and seeing people at arrivals and stuff
Yeah.
gets me every single time. Like,
Ryan hates
I
love, but I would kick out the barbarian invasions in America.
In America,
Yeah.
you officially have no heart, sir.
I would put in Kill Bill Volume 1, and I would put in Something's Gotta Give, and then I would take Sofia Coppola's Oscar away from her and give it to Nancy Myers. Talk about hating love.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I
Well-
want Nancy Myers to have an Oscar. And
Well, I think
I
she made a
mean,
fatal
sure.
flaw in that screenplay. So sorry, Nancy.
I think she made the correct choice of making a masterpiece. So I don't know.
I really like the Barbarian Invasions, or I really liked it when I saw it. I have not seen it since like 2004 or 5
There's one
when I
that's
saw
like
it.
I've never been interested in going back to. It's like
Yeah,
I saw it
I
once,
just
and
like
I'm like,
I saw it and I'm like, that was good. And
it was
have
fine, and
just
then you
lived
kinda
my
just, like,
life ever
yeah,
since.
and you're like, what do I have for dinner? And then you just
Yeah.
forget about that movie 10 minutes after.
But like in this category, I would absolutely get rid of Dirty Pretty Things. I don't know what it's doing here.
Yeah. Oh
Like
shoot, I would get rid of that.
how did that even happen? No one saw that movie. I don't know.
I saw
But the
I saw it.
Zach's like me.
like
I saw it.
I'm the one.
Yeah, I was the one who voted for it.
Zach's like, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. But no, the thing is, I have so many things that I want to put in this category, and not all of them will fit. But the first one that I really want to fit in this category, because it's really, really hard to do this kind of movie well. I would put Identity in this category. Like,
that's good.
I know it's kind of trashy, but like, it's hard to do like this kind of like horror locked room, and then there were none type-ish thriller, and do it really well. And this movie is so effective. And also, like, it's one of those movies that has a very famous twist that, like, I don't know a single person who, while watching it, figured out the twist. And yet, everyone I know who has seen it also, like, is like, okay, the twist plays fair. I just didn't catch it. And, like, great fucking ending to that movie. It's really, I know, like, it's not what we would traditionally think of as a great screenplay, but it's so hard to get one of these right, and I feel like they got it really, really right with this movie.
I like
So,
Identity a lot too.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Multiple twists actually in that movie. Like
Yes!
they do the main
Yeah.
one, and it's like, oh yeah, there's actually another one coming later
Yeah.
on. It's like you forget.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so well done.
Yeah.
And the other one that I really want to put in here that I would probably, I guess I'd probably take out Barbarian Invasions as the second one if I was going to put this in.
Mhm.
That I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for it, but what the hell? I really like Dogville.
Yes.
Oh.
And that screenplay, I think, is one of Von Trier's most effective in terms of getting the audience where he wants to go, and actually like not making it feel like depressing without a point, which I feel like a lot of his movies can do. But yeah, I think that's a really unforgettable movie, and it comes down a lot to his screenplay.
I just want to say one real quick, and that's a really good pick, Dan. I would kick out also Dirty Pretty Things, and I would put in School of Rock. Because that's,
I love you for doing that.
great
I
pick.
love you for doing that. A very good pick.
because that's a very funny movie.
Yep.
And like Mike White's writing, like
Great.
freaking great in that movie. So
I'd also say it's hard for me to say things that I would put in and kick out because there's a lot of really great original screenplays this year. But I will say I think this is from what they nominated. I think is really good, and I would have picked Sofia Coppola out of this lineup.
Oh yeah,
out of the lineup, I would pick Sofia Coppola.
And I think that she's somebody who kind of gets a lot of grief for a lot of reasons that I don't quite understand. But I loved this movie when it came out. I still love it, and I think that
this is my least favorite Sofia Coppola movie, but it's also like not a win that I have any problem with.
Yeah.
So
I feel like obviously because people are sexist and pieces of shit. And also she was the first American woman to ever be nominated for Best Director. It comes with an enormous amount of pressure.
Well, and also the whole Nepo baby thing.
Yeah.
It's the whole Nepo baby thing too, because even Billy Crystal's whole bit about her in the opening monologue is entirely about Francis Ford Coppola.
He mentions the head from Godfather and him stomping what is it, grapes at the
stomping
winery?
Grapes at the winery. Yeah. And I'm like, please, she's nominated in her own right. It's not like she's making movies just like Francis Ford Coppola does or something. It's not like she's co-opting his style or something.
And she didn't even it's a super indie movie. It wasn't a big budget or anything.
No.
I've always had the utmost respect for her because yes, she did have an advantage in being the daughter of Francis Ford Coppola. That is true.
Yeah.
But she has, from the very beginning of her career, put herself forward as her own filmmaker, separate and apart from her father. She does not make movies like her father did, and she's not trying to. That's why I've always really respected her as an artist, because yes, you do have an advantage having the last name Coppola, but that doesn't mean that she didn't do this on her own. And
incredibly worthy.
Exactly.
What I mean? And
yeah.
Oh, sorry, Josh.
I agree with all of those points.
Here we go.
And I also fucking hate Lost in Translation. I am so sorry. And I know this is the thing that's going to get me crucified, but
no, that's fine.
I have never really liked Sofia Coppola's movies all that much. I totally get all those points, and I absolutely agree. She's her own artist. She deserves to stand on her own apart from her dad. And I get it. But I've just never really been into her movies, and Lost in Translation I just find is so boring. And I cannot. I know. Coming from me, especially, I usually like boring movies, but I just have never found those characters to be interesting, in the slightest to me, and I very much struggle. And I even rewatched it earlier today to try to give it a new perspective, and I'm sorry, I am so not on the wavelength of that movie, and so it is not Josh. My personal win here, unfortunately.
What do you give it to?
Well, the other problem with this category is that I don't really have that much
passion
for the other nominees as well. This is one where I would get rid of almost every nominee here and replace it with something else. I agree that I think Something's Got to Give is really good. The Station Agent probably is my personal winner.
Station Agents.
28 Days Later is another one. So there's many other options that I would replace that are not in this lineup. And in the grand scheme of things, I'm not that mad about Lost in Translation winning, but unlike a lot of other people, I just do not like this movie, unfortunately.
No, for sure. I think that I am happy she has an Oscar, but because
I'm happy for her fans that she has an Oscar.
Well, I'm not I mean, I really respect her, and I think her movies are really fascinating. I think also the trajectory of her career as a director has been absolutely one of the more fascinating ones. Thank God she's not an actress. Because
well, yeah, that's the other aspect I think that goes into it is people just have residual hatred from Godfather 3.
Yeah, no, for sure. But
frankly, that's what you should put on, not on her.
Yeah, that's on her father.
She wasn't even supposed to be in the movie.
It was supposed to be Winona Ryder.
She didn't cast herself.
Yeah. But no, honestly, she's she's always making interesting things, and it's something that I'm like, I'm always
And I
like,
respect her for that. Like,
she
good
never
on her. I'm glad that
really,
she's doing the things that she wants to do, but it's just not been for me.
I feel like she doesn't do the same thing, every single film. It feels like, at least for me, and she's. I mean, I'm really looking forward to Priscilla because I just, that was something deeply missing from Baz Luhrmann's movie, was that important perspective on that whole.
Oh, you don't think 5 minutes was enough to talk about that very deeply important relationship?
Yeah, you know what, Josh? I think that's being generous considering it was like 2.5. It felt like, but no, for sure.
It was 5 scenes that totaled about 2.5 minutes because it's Baz Luhrmann.
I think half of her lines were just saying Elvis's name, So anyway, all right, let's do acting categories. Let's do them as a whole. There are things to probably replace, particularly Dan's favorite, Cold Mountain, Renee Zellweger. So you want to start with supporting actress, or do you want to just, who wants to go first? Who wants to take away Oscars, take away nominations, insert things?
This may surprise you, but I fully support Miss Zellweger's Oscar win.
The lie.
Out of this category, I think no one else is doing more for her movie than she is. Like, if y'all have watched that movie is a fucking snooze.
It is a bore.
Until she comes on. It is a bore.
I understand
until she
why
comes on, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm awake now. I'm very scared, but I'm also awake. Yeah.
It's for the completely wrong reasons because it's a bad performance.
Cold Mountain needed someone to say, fuck all this prestige drama bullshit. We're just going to give it an old-fashioned helping of like amp.
Dan, you clearly damn well know that they only gave her this Oscar because they felt like they messed up.
They were scared of her.
Before, and that they gave Kidman the Oscar for the Hours and not her win for Chicago. And this is a classic makeup win.
Oh, classic. Absolute classic makeup win. Yes. Absolutely classic makeup win. That said, of this category, like, actually is my pick.
No.
But that's because this category is bad. Okay.
No, I like Shohreh Aghdashloo though. She would be my
Aghdashloo. Clearly the best.
I have such mixed feelings of House of Sand and Fog, but look, I hate to be I hate to do this, but Patty Clarkson, I love you. You have no business getting an Oscar nomination for this movie. I'm sorry.
You said, I love you, now leave.
I'm so sorry that the Academy has not seen fit to honor you any of the dozens of other times that you are worthy. But I just have to be honest and say that you have Emma Thompson's Oscar nomination. And then we can say that Emma Thompson should have won this Oscar for Love Actually, and Renee Zellweger does not have to have this Oscar at all.
I mean,
no. I'm gonna do that, and then I'm also gonna pull a BAFTAs. And who will I kick out? Let's see. I'll kick out Alec Baldwin. Because it's always a good time to kick out Alec Baldwin.
For another movie that doesn't exist, The Cooler.
Yeah,
I love The Cooler. Maria Bello also very good in that.
Well, he makes Macy great in that movie, so but like of all the people to nominate,
Baldwin? Alec Baldwin. Yeah. So and
he was having a moment. It was a comeback moment for him. That's why.
And you know what? I might even let Bill Nye win. I mean, that's and then Bill Nye would have his Oscar.
Yeah, and then he wouldn't have had to be nominated last year.
Yes, he would have, because that was a great performance.
Yeah, that was a good performance. But supporting actor, Watanabe is the only person I would keep, and I would jettison the other four, especially the winner, because Tim Robbins is awful.
I like Jaimin Hansu in America.
I'm just not passionate about it, but Tim Robbins especially, he is awful. Yeah, he's Mystic River, one of the worst performances.
I would put in
vampires. All right, it's a.
I think I agree with Josh. I kick out everyone from there except Kim Watanabe. I would put in obviously Jeffrey Rush for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Obviously.
Oh,
yes.
very smart.
If you're gonna put somebody in from Mystic River, it's Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
I just don't know if he would be lead or supporting is the thing, but
they would put him in supporting easily.
Paul can compete with Sean Penn's.
Yeah, no one's competing with. Is that my daughter right there? Speech. I put Paul Bettany in for Master and Commander of the Far Side of the World.
Nice.
And you know what? I would throw in a member of the giant cast that is Lord of the Rings.
I mean, Sean Astin.
Sean Astin.
Yeah.
or
literally,
or McKellen's even good in this too, and also Circus is there, and then
John Noble.
Noble. Oh, I mean, John Noble is great in these movies.
You could make a whole category with it.
I mean, you really could.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like there's also like
Billy
Albert
Boyd's
Finney's
really
another
good.
one I would throw in here.
Finney. That's who I would pick. That would be the last one. Yeah, Finney. Yeah. I forgot about
Sarsgaard from Shattered Glass.
Yeah, Sarsgaard from Shattered Glass.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is not a very serious performance, I grant you, but Sam Rockwell in Matchstick Men is just so unbelievably fun and enjoyable that I just
so good in that movie.
He is good in that.
So
He's
good.
really funny.
Yeah, I would personally take out Marcia Gay Harden in Mystic River. And I would put in Lucy Liu from Kill Bill Volume 1. I think she's incredible.
I kind of love that. Love that.
And then I'm trying to think of somebody else.
I would also put Ellen DeGeneres into a lineup for Finding Nemo. I think that's actually a brilliant voice performance.
I totally agree.
He's great. He's great. And
totally agree.
And also, I mean, I would Miranda Otto for Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. She's
very good
in that movie.
Very good.
And I don't think people give her enough credit.
No, not nearly.
In that movie.
Also really like Jessica Lange in Big Fish as well.
I was going to say Jessica Lange is incredible in those in just it's not like a big performance.
No, it's supporting wife performance, but very very well done. That scene between her and Finney in the tub, it's very short but very effective.
Helena Bonham Carter is actually really good in that too.
Yeah,
playing the older version of that young girl, she's really really good with that scene at the piano. And it's a good movie. Anybody want to make any? Oh, I'm sorry, Zach.
Well, yeah, we were talking about American Splendor earlier, and Hope Davis in that film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hope Davis is really good in that.
If I'm not mistaken. And if Patricia Clarkson had, I don't know if you would put her in lead or supporting for the station agent, but I think
I would put her in lead.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably.
Well, then, as long as we're still talking about supporting, Bobby Cannavale in the station.
Yeah, he's great in that movie.
He's
so good in that movie.
And Jennifer Jason Leigh in The Cut, playing Meg Ryan's sister, who meets an unfortunate end. It's really something that her first and only Oscar nomination came for The Hateful Eight. They were never going to recognize her for that film, but it's one where she should have been in a long time ago.
Actress, I would take out 3 by Naomi Watts, by Samantha Morton, Keisha Cashel Hughes. It was nice knowing you. Nice knowing you. Yeah, it was very nice knowing you. Obviously, I would put in Patricia Clarkson in that category. That's where I would put her for the station agent. I would put in Uma Thurman for Kill Bill Volume 1.
Should have won.
She should have won. I think of somebody else I would put in this category.
Scarlett Johansson.
No.
Helen Mirren for Calendar Girls.
Yes.
I mean, actually, on that sort of similar note, Jamie Lee Curtis for Freaky Friday.
Yeah, for Freaky Friday.
You know what?
It would be a better win than what she won for.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you said she didn't win for Freaky Friday, Nicole. Like, it just took her 2 decades to win the Oscar for this performance. She's been
They were
campaigning
holding
that
it
whole
from
time.
her. I see. See, that makes more sense to me.
Playing the long con.
Yeah.
On it. I have to come back to me on my 5th one, who I would replace it with. Anybody else?
Well, Meg Ryan, speaking of In the Cut.
In the Cut,
never nominated, and took a lot of grief for this performance.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot. And
I know who I would replace. Diane Lane from Under the Tuscan Sun. That's who I would.
Wait, yeah.
That's who I would.
A great choice.
Two people that I do want to give like shout outs to. I would absolutely. I mean, I don't know who I'd kick out, but I really want to give Nicole Kidman another nomination for Dogville. I think she's fantastic in that. Okay, I'd kick out Naomi Watts for her.
That really took you a long time.
That misery, those miserable, just like misery porn, like movies that Inarritu was doing. At that time, it's just like
21 Grams.
I should say that because I'm replacing it with Lars von Trier mizury porn. So you know, I mean,
well, can you guess if I'm a fan of Lars von Trier?
But then, yeah, I guess of course, because like Uma Thurman in Kill Bill is the rightful winner in this category.
Well,
if I have to take out someone, I guess I'd take out Keisha Castle Hughes, but I don't want to because I like her in that. And I also love Samantha Morton in America, but like that is a borderline supporting performance.
It is. Also, my personal winner would be Diane Keaton for Something's Gotta Give.
Of this
I was gonna ask, how do we feel about Charlize Theron and her win here?
That is like a performance that I am so happy she won.
Yeah.
Because like Charlize has been like, she has essentially taken that Oscar and had such a fascinating career post the Oscars. And the performance itself is very kind of, it's a transformation, garden variety. It's she's playing a villain.
It's the second year in a row you could have said the actress won by a nose.
Yeah. There you go. Comedy points to Dan for that.
And like not taking anything away from her performance at all, because I think she's great. It was definitely, that was one of those performances that just like, there wasn't anything else that matched it that year in terms of like what people were talking about.
It took up a lot of the conversation.
Yeah. There was just, it was one of those things where like, well, she's winning. There's no way she's not. It was just kind of like a foregone conclusion. I remember that at the time.
I've just never also gone back to watch the film because it's a hard film to watch, and and also if you know that story, it's a rough story to get through.
Yeah, and it's also like very early 2000s indie shaggy kind of filmmaking too. So I mean, at the time I remember really loving it and just thinking this was like an incredible performance. Looking at it now, it is pretty typical of the stuff that I don't like rewarding for Oscars, but her commitment and just overall kind of presence in that movie is still just so captivating to me that I don't have a problem with her winning. And as you said, what she has done with her career since getting that Oscar, I think is really impressive too. But yeah, like I'm fine with her winning, but I'm not nearly as strong a supporter on it as I used to be.
That's the thing. I'm more mixed on it as a movie than I am on her performance.
Yeah, same.
It was something that I was like really into when it first came out, and it's like I would rather Charlize have an Oscar for something that was like, I don't know, young adult, or
yes, exactly that one,
getting Oscar baby kind of role. But it's the same kind of thing with Nicole Kidman winning for The Hours, where it's like, yes, this is a sort of Oscar baity type thing, but after that she made Dogville and Birth and all these like really interesting movies that she otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. And it's the same thing with Charlize, right? So
yeah, because she goes to like Eon Flex, and then she kind of was like, oh crap, what are we gonna do? And then she's probably like the most versatile actress we have working today, because she can be in a comedy, and she can be in a kick-ass action hero, and she can be in a drama, and she can be in anything, honestly.
And plus she's like the coolest woman alive.
So cool.
Like
so cool. Yeah. No, I don't begrudge it. I wouldn't give it to her. I'd give it to Diane Keaton because I think that performance is amazing. But yeah, actor. Listen, Sean Penn, I know your daughter's in there. I'm taking your Oscar from you.
Sorry, this is a bad performance. It is.
Yeah.
It is over the top I think all the performances in Mystic River are actually over the top in a way that doesn't really vibe with the vibe of that movie.
Except
Listen,
Kevin
I like
Bacon.
that
I like
movie.
Kevin
Kevin Bacon.
The best performance in the movie. They didn't touch it.
I think Penn's okay. I don't think it's I don't think he's like I don't think it's
I don't
I think it's
necessarily have a
bad.
problem with the nomination, but I do have a problem with the win.
I wouldn't give it to Bill Murray. I mean, honestly, SAG got it right that year, and I never understand why Johnny Depp didn't win for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, you understand why? Because
I understand. Yeah,
Pirates
he
of
was
the Caribbean. He wasn't going to win for that.
Yeah,
SAG got it right.
But
And,
yeah, I agree with you. He would be my winner for Best Actor. I think that is
such a wild performance that it even got nominated is kind of like an insane thing.
It's still, yeah.
But like,
I tell you this though, I would in a heartbeat, even though it pains me because I love him, I would in a heartbeat take out Jude Law for Jack Black in School of Rock.
Correct.
In a heartbeat.
And I would take out Ben Kingsley and I would put in Russell Crowe for Master and Commander.
Yes. I was going to say, I'm kicking out Sean Penn, Ben Kingsley, and Jude Law.
Okay.
Putting in Jack Black for School of Rock, Russell Crowe for Master and Commander, of course. And then honestly, like this might be partially my bias talking, or maybe it's just that I'm like happy to take an award from Sean Penn. But I'm going to put in Ewan McGregor for Big Fish. Like I think it takes a very talented actor to like get something that good out of a Tim Burton movie.
I'm surprised, Nicole, that you would go there and not for your love, Jason Isaacs and Peter Pan.
Oh my God.
Don't. Okay. Wow.
That's more supporting, right?
Yeah.
That's
I mean, is it like?
I'm gonna put that into the supporting lineup.
I don't know. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen that movie since it came out, but
I haven't seen it in a while. I think it's supporting, and you know what? I've got so much room in our supporting actor category that we'll put him in there.
Like Giamatti and Dinklage too.
Yeah, those would be the two that I would want to make room for.
And I would put in Jack Nicholson for Something's Got to Give. Someone's got to. I mean, like,
what you mean, anger management?
That was
it's actually a really good performance by Nicholson in that movie.
Yes.
And again, like doing
it's also not just Jack Nicholson doing Jack Nicholson. Like yeah.
No, it's not. It's
yeah.
He's a lot more vulnerable, and honestly, it's kind of a meta commentary on him as a as like a movie star and a playboy in the entire sense of the word. So and him coming to grapples with it. And it's again, it is wild that Nancy Meyers actually got him to go and commit and do that. Like, and it's a testament to her. It's an absolutely really great lineup. And I would probably kick out Bill Murray as much as like I like that Bill Murray has an Oscar nomination.
This is not a movie I would have nominated Bill.
No, I would have probably nominated him for like Groundhog Day. You know what I mean? Which is like a much more nuanced performance, you know.
Bill would be my winner of this.
Would he?
Yeah, and
he is for a lot of people.
Definitely of this category, of this lineup. And I remember even as a Mystic River fan being really bummed and heartbroken when Bill Murray lost for this performance.
So was Bill Murray.
Famously so.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I think like, look, Sean Penn, obviously we know that he has another Oscar coming up for a better performance. You know, like even at the time, it was just kind of like, really, you know, this thing.
Well, I think like Zach, it goes down to once again, like the thinking that we think of when we are doing all this, which is this is the only chance it feels like that this person's ever going to win this Oscar. You know what I mean? Like that was a lot of like some people's ultimate reasoning why they were thinking Michelle Yeoh was going to win. Like this was the only chance that this person will probably have left. And yet the Academy time in and time out, and you use Sean Penn, he's the perfect example of that. Like you have two performances that year from actors that are very unconventional to the Oscars in Mickey Rourke in 2008 and Bill Murray in this year. And they go, nope, we'll go with Sean Penn. The no matter what the headlines say or whatever we think about it, we're going with the guy that like people, he's a great actor, but he's crazy, but he's really committed. And yeah, I think like his performance is good here. I don't think it's great. I think he's better in Milk. but even then, I wouldn't give him the Oscar there.
I would give him the Oscar for Milk, but not for Mystic River.
No, yeah, I don't know.
I'd also say, in addition to swapping in Russell Crowe for Master and Commander, I think that Peter Dinklage for the Station Agent.
Yes.
And this should have been Paul Giamatti's first Oscar nomination.
Yep.
For American Splendor. So don't love this Best Actor lineup.
No. All right. Let's get out of here on these notes. Is there anybody you take out of director? Anything you take out of picture? What would you give those categories?
Let's see this.
Literally take Seabiscuit out and put Kill Bill in.
Okay.
That's the first thing that I would immediately do.
Listen, I am always out here trying to take everything and anything away from Clint Eastwood. And I'm taking his director nomination. And like, maybe this is crazy talk, but genuinely, I would give a nomination to Gore Verbinski for Pirates, because I think that like that is an achievement of filmmaking.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily take anyone out of this director lineup, but I would say I wish that Peter Weir could have won for Master Commander.
Yeah.
He's, I guess, retired and never going to win an Academy Award. And I think that obviously, like what Peter Jackson did with Lord of the Rings was outstanding. It would have been better for him to win for the first film, I think. And
but he also has the screenplay and the picture winning, you know.
But I guess there was no way that it basically sucked all the oxygen out of the outstanding technical achievement. You know,
like he just needed to like stick the landing with that third film, and then which there was no indication he wasn't going to.
Yeah.
So
I think Weir is just one of those guys who's criminally underrated, and even this year was like, if people weren't voting for Jackson, people were talking about this historical significance of Sofia Coppola, or the fact that Clint Eastwood, like I remember that all of the coverage around that film was just about like Clint's tactician style directing, right? And this being his best film since Unforgiven, so it's like Weir was just kind of like fourth at best, I think.
Yeah, I would take out Fernando Morales for City of God and Clint Eastwood. Sorry, Dan.
Ryan.
I mean, I don't agree with that either. I think City of God is amazing.
What is your issue with City of God?
I don't like the movie, and I would take
Why not?
I would take out Sofia Coppola, and I would put in Nancy Meyers. I would put in Quentin Tarantino for Kill Bill Volume 1, and I would put in the Wachowski sisters for The Matrix Reloaded, because I think that movie is wildly an ambitious sequel. It's such a big, bombastic film. They put their heart and soul into that film, and I absolutely love it. And it is a directing achievement. That thing,
Reloaded is one of the best action films of the 2000s.
Yeah. And I would, and I'm with Nicole, I would consider Gore, but like, man, like to be able to go from The Matrix to The Matrix Reloaded, and this was technically what they wanted to do. Like, they were offered, do you want to do the Matrix sequels, or do you want to do Batman Begins? And they chose this instead. And I think that like it is basically them throwing the kitchen sink in terms of an action film, and the movie holds up, and I love it. And I just think it's elevating that really grounded material to something truly spectacular. And so, yeah, I would have a lot of blockbusters, it seems like, in my director lineup, but like they all were very effective in what they do. Because like Tarantino, that's a movie that I think like it's where his direction really does get to shine, especially like the action sequences, especially in the Bride versus the Crazy 88 sequence. He's going from different ratios and different in black and white and on all these different stuff. That is a great piece of achievement there too by Tarantino.
It's his, if you ask me, it's his best directing achievement to date. Yeah. I think Kill Bill, especially if the two parts together, but particularly Volume 1, is just like insane.
Yeah,
it's the most directing he's done ever.
See, I prefer Volume 2 slightly.
I do too. I love them
Sure.
both. Like,
and I understand that reading. Yeah, I get that.
I would also absolutely try to make room for Tim Burton for Big Fish, and Danny Boyle for 28 Days Later. As I said before, I think that's his best movie, and I really love what he does with that material.
But I agree with you, Zach. I would give it to Peter Weir. Like,
it's so close. It's so close for me between those two, which is sort of why I end up giving Master and Commander my screenplay award, because it's like, well, that could have been the place I would have rewarded Peter Weir, and you can give the kind of total directorial achievement of the 3 Lord of the Rings movies still to Peter Jackson. So, but as I said, extremely close between those two.
That's why I give it picture and I give him director, because like for me personally, I would give like director if I could Peter Jackson for Two Towers. That's my favorite of the trilogy. So, and I think Helm's Deep is a much better built action sequence and emotional sequence in that middle chapter, and also all the different directorial decisions for the introduction and the performance that he gets from Andy Serkis with Gollum. It's much more highlighted in that film. And
true. The problem I run in is that 2002, I give my best director prize to Rob Marshall for Chicago, and then in 2001, I give it to Nolan for Memento. So,
in like 2001, I would probably give it to like Lynch from Mulholland Drive. You know? So,
I have to give it to Jackson just for like as the cumulative award, you know, but like also I look at these movies and outside of Master and Commander, I don't think anyone is directing on the scale that he is in this movie. And again, like there's just some kind of magic about Return of the King, where even though like it's not my favorite of the trilogy and not the one that I would like want to give like, yeah, that's my favorite movie of the year, that's what I want to give Best Picture to. But even despite all that, I kind of can't deny it winning the top 2 categories because it's just so there's nothing else that is coming close to this scale and vision and just how well it pulls off. Like it's a nearly like 3-4 hour movie that just like you feel every bit of entertainment in all those minutes. Like it doesn't fly by, but you get to the end and you're like, that was a fucking movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would assume we would all out of this lineup still give Lord of the Rings Best Picture.
I would probably Master and Commander or Lost in Translation would have been my personal picks, but I have no problem with Lord of the Rings just because, you know.
I would give it to Lord of the Rings, but Master and Commander is like a close second for me.
Yeah. Catch me on the right day, I might even say Master and Commander, but you know, Lord of the Rings.
Catch me right after I watch Master and Commander, and I would probably say Master and Commander.
Dan would pick Seabiscuit easily.
I would actually be like, Lost in Translation is a much closer runner-up than you would maybe guess for me in that top category.
Do we, and obviously a lot of the picks that we mentioned, right, like would make our Best Picture lineup. Do we have an idea what we think would be an expanded lineup? How about that for our final thing?
Of like
if
what
they had
the
10,
Oscars would have picked?
If they had 10.
I mean, in America.
I think City of God.
In America, City of God, absolutely.
I'm looking at like what was nominated throughout the
Baby Barbarian Invasions, because that got international and screenplay.
I also think you could make an argument that Finding Nemo would have gotten in a
would Pirates have gotten in?
I was going to say that
Pirates might have gotten in.
Maybe.
I think so.
5 nominations, including one for acting. So
absolutely would have been a PGA nominee. So
I mean, Last Samurai would have been a PGA. That would have been.
Last Samurai had what 4 nominations?
4 nominations, and above the line stuff. You know what I mean? With Watanabe there. Well, I guess also Pirates did with Johnny Depp. So
yeah,
Cold Mountain. That's
Mountain.
something.
Oh yeah, Cold Mountain.
That would have been there.
Yeah, it
that would have
absolutely
been,
would have been.
murking around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can feel that movie.
Yeah,
just,
2 acting nominations and all that stuff below the line. Yeah,
that just
a
feels
solid
like,
10 especially would have been there.
yeah. No, that definitely. So what? So let's break them down. So it would have been In America, probably City of God,
Cold Mountain.
Cold
Cold
Mountain.
Yeah.
Pirates.
Oh, probably.
Are we going
Lost.
Nemo?
Yeah.
That or Last Samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Nemo got like
Nemo got screenplay.
I guess
Yeah.
to be fair though, if you think about it, they might have been like seeing pirates as their Disney movie and being like, that's
Yeah.
our kid-friendly film.
True.
Yeah.
But they also
I
could have
actu-
seen like we don't need to nominate pirates here.
Yeah,
or
like I
Master
actually
and
wonder.
Commander. You know what I mean? So it might have been like they lean towards maybe something like Last Samurai as another.
Yeah, I wonder actually if Pirates of the Caribbean would have been like yeah, it's fun, but that's not Best Picture, and we
Yeah.
get both Finding Nemo and Last Samurai instead.
I feel like the Pixar brand would have got it over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was Pixar.
Yeah.
You know, if it was like another one of these animated movies, they're like, that's a nice try, but this is Pixar we're talking about. I mean, Disney and Pixar do technically own all 3 of the films that have ever been nominated for Best Picture. So,
Mhm.
All right. Any other last thoughts on 2003 before we get out of the time machine and we go back to 2023 next week? Nothing?
I'm sure Josh will agree with me on this, that no matter how much we love Finding Nemo, Triplets of Belleville was robbed.
Yeah. I am a Triplets of Belleville
Yes.
fan.
I think that regardless of the 11 films that Lord of the Rings won, it's so great that Annie Lennox won that Oscar for a song that I when it played on the ceremony, I was like, that was in the movie? Like I didn't
Literally all, but for the first one too, I'm like, this was in the movie.
Yeah.
I was sitting there, I'm like, she wasn't in the end credits, and then it's because you got to stay through the 45 minutes of end credits
Yeah.
to get to her song. So I always thought back to I'm like, I didn't know there was a song in that, and then I pulled out the DVD at the time, and I was like, wow, this is like right as they're like literally ending the credits. They're like, oh, and by the way, Annie Lennox has a song. She just like saw the first 2 movies. She downloaded them, and it took her 9 hours to get to them. Anyway, give her an Oscar. It was really weird.
She actually wrote the
it's not a
song
bad-
while waiting for
it's
them
a-
to download.
It's a lovely song, and the performance was beautiful, but like it's one of those like the song was in the movie, really?
I was
Yeah.
surprised the Billy Boyd song in the movie that he sings wasn't
Yeah.
the one that was nominated, because that's
Because he's not
Well,
Annie
these
Lennox.
days it would have been
Yeah.
because you have to be the first song in the end credits to count,
that's
right? Like
at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but like I
yeah.
said, his song wasn't written by Annie Lennox and Peter
Yeah.
Jackson's wife. That's
Yeah.
the reason why.
so you know.
That's true. Man, she
Also,
won a
like,
lot
we
of
love
Oscars
Peter
that
Ja-
night.
We love Peter Jackson and Buzz Luhrmann ensuring that their wives also get Oscars.
Yep.
She won what, 3 Oscars that night?
Yeah, she won the
Yeah.
same amount as him.
Yep.
Good for them.
Picture, screenplay, and song.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's actually really awesome.
Yeah. The other thing that's also weird to think about is like, man, if Lord of the Rings had just gotten that cinematography or
Son of a
sound
bitch.
editing nomination, it absolutely
No,
would have
it-
won them too. It
Yeah.
would have broken the record.
It would have broken the record. And,
And
then,
it's
honestly,
so weird that it didn't get those nominations.
Especially the
what?
sound editing nomination. That is
Just
really bizarre to me.
Weird.
And two,
Bizarre.
I was kind of surprised because like he got the BAFTA nomination too, and they won SAG Ensemble. I was surprised McKellen just didn't get like a here, we loved you in the first film. Here's another nomination sort of thing. They just didn't go for that, but they had to nominate Alec Baldwin for The Cooler.
Baldwin was having a moment that was a comeback performance from him.
I
Like
know.
it was a thing.
It was man. Go look at that BAFTA list, guys. It was we think BAFTA's choosing violence now the way that they're doing it. Like
before the Oscars. Oh, it was.
They were like, we can do whatever the hell. More like it was like reading that BAFTA list. It was like, oh, you think this is all the best? bitch, you're wrong. Here's what's really the best. You know what I mean? And like, they are like, we get the final say, which is actually like, that's how they should be. That's when they were great and not trying to be like everybody else and chase the Oscars. All right. Nicole Ackman, where can we find you on the internet and all your great work?
Yep. You can find me on the internet on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, all those things at Nicole Ackman 16. You can find my work obviously here at AwardsWatch and over at Oscar Central.
Dan Bayer.
Yes.
Same drill.
You can find me on Twitter at Dance and Dan on Film, on Letterboxd, and post at Dance and Dan.
Josh Parham.
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at JR Parham, and you can find my work over on Next Best Picture and here at AwardsWatch.
Zach Laws.
You can find me on the corner and
hopefully it's not cold out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you like to wear shorts. You know?
Now that it's the summer, he's happy to.
At Zach Laws, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Google. You can find me on Google. Yeah.
Find him on the Googles.
Yeah.
Just type his name. Don't be creepy about it though. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Ryan McQuade 77. You can find my work here at awardswatch.com. Just had an interview with Kelvin Harrison Jr., the star of Chevalier. It is up on the website. You can go read that, plus a ton of great reviews from everybody here, as well as all our other contributors that are not here today. We also have a lot of Emmy coverage that'll be coming around the corner, so look from Tyler and everybody else also here too as well. You can also find my work all over at In Session Film, the playlist, and various other sites. Next week, we will be talking about what seems to be one of the most divisive films already of the year in Beau is Afraid, and giving our thoughts on that. We'll also give maybe a little bit of thoughts on Evil Dead Rises. Maybe we'll have some listener questions, maybe a game. We'll keep it real loose like we did this week. But yeah, Beau is Afraid. Hopefully no one's career is being destroyed or anything. I think that we can all just go and enjoy what looks like a very gnarly film from Ari Aster, which is in line with everything else that he's done in his filmography. With that, we will see you all next time.